Ladies and gentlemen, we made it. It is football season. It's Packers season. Game day today. I'm Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian right there. We just bathed in football last night, enjoyed every moment of the illustrious game that was the opener in Kansas City. We'll get into all of it. We'll get into Packers-Eagles. It's 9 to noon. You're on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Armin, I am so excited. I'm channeling my excitement for the Packers game, still sorting through the energy and whatever the finish was last night. But as we're collecting our thoughts, getting ourselves ready for the show today, getting ourselves ready for game day, there's a lot that you're doing, way more than you're doing than I'm doing in preparation for our duties here tonight.
I don't know about
for
that,
Packers
Billy.
Radio Network.
You're doing a lot of stuff too. You know,
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that, Billy.
You're sorting things up for the broadcast. All I got to do is watch the game and then get to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, but we've all got that. Yeah. So,
but for this moment here, for the next 3 hours, where we're talking to people, getting people ready for the Packers and Eagles.
Getting the pot cooked up here, right? I
was sitting around saying, what else is there to talk about?
What
else is there to talk about these two teams in this game that we've known was on the schedule, honestly, since they announced Sao Paulo prior to announcing the matchup.
Yeah.
Right? When they said they were going to Sao Paulo, said it was going to be the Eagles,
we thought it could be.
It's going to be the Packers.
We thought it could be us right away. We started going in on that. Could it be us? We started analyzing the possibility of it. It was the first line available.
It was the first one easy.
So we were really breaking it down right away. And as I told Zabe a little bit, I was getting to this when we were kicking him out of the studio here. I said, in this landscape of conversation, of media, well, what we do has been, in traditional form, radio form has been around for a good amount of time now. But social media outlets, how many podcasts in the world? There is so much analysis around every part of our favorite game, which is, the NFL. There's so much analysis. We love it. That's why we talk about it, but we talk about everything so much, right? To the point where, Billy, it's not that I don't like that aspect of it. It's like, I wanted to get here already and talk about the game and play it. You know what I mean?
I'm just so excited for them to finally play the football.
We've talked so much. You guys last night had Football Feast, which was fantastic, by the way, to hear Football Feast again.
It was awesome. Great to be back in Buffalo Wild Wings. Great to be giving away Packers tickets to every home game at each Football Feast.
That's still wild to me. You're giving away Packers tickets every time. Like, that's awesome.
My man Bryce that won them yesterday, his brother was at the table. Now, 4 friends were also at the table. They were a little bit salty that they were not going to get the companion pass.
Oh, they were hoping for that. They
were
one
of the two, but they're like, we kind of get it. He's taking his brother.
Well, yeah, but come on. That's why you go to get Asian Zing and garlic parmesan and lemon pepper dry rub at Buffalo Wild Wings with your buddy. You're come with guy. Yeah, I'll hang out with you. I expect
see what happens
to be the guy if you win the tickets. Oh, it's us, right?
Yeah.
No, I got the tickets. I
was going to take you.
Take me and my brother and maybe my dad and my grandpa and sorry, but thanks for coming though.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Splitting this bill with me.
I thought you were paying.
I guess now, yeah. See, I think in that situation you have
maybe you do have to pay. Yeah. Maybe you do have to pay. But it was a loaded bucket last night, man. A lot of listeners came out to the Football Feast.
So awesome.
And in the same way, people are saying, "What are you thinking about tonight's game? What are you thinking about tonight's game?"
Everybody
There's just so much that we've analyzed about it, so much that we've talked about with it, that it's the most discussed maybe Super Bowl that I can think of. Because it's been, as you mentioned,
always is big.
So much lead up, but it's not even just. This is the first game, as you mentioned, that we've known on the calendar. We knew it like 3 weeks before the actual schedule release. There's been a lot of conversation, and at the end of it as well, one of the other reasons why I'm kind of wondering what on earth we're going to talk about, because we don't know a whole lot of what these teams are going to look like tonight. We know a lot of the players.
Yeah.
We know most of the stars. We do know that Philadelphia is missing a couple of stars of their team for the last decade. We know the Packers are exchanging out some stars, especially in the backfield. But with 3 out of the 4 coordinators new, both teams made the playoffs last year, so you expect good things. Expectations are high, and they're expected to get back to at least to where they were a year ago. However, week 1, there's more of the Armin unscouted looks than maybe any game that there is this weekend.
So many. That's what makes week 1 unpredictable. That's what makes, the NFL in general is unpredictable. We fall into this trap every year that we think we know what performance is going to be like because of expectations and because of what it's been in the past. we always forget that this is not only just a year to year or month to month, this is a week to week league. So what a team looked like even a week before might not be the same. How they prepared, how they come out and play, what they look like. So it would be naive of us to think that just because something happened last year, right, it's going to happen again. Repeat performance is rare. That's what makes what the Chiefs are doing so impressive.
Yeah, no doubt.
So it is. There's so much that's going to happen this NFL season that week one will eventually become a memory of, wow, remember the way they opened? And it looks so much different. But when it's right in front of us now, we put so much into it, of course. That's the excitement of it. We don't know what to expect. A new season's like a new chapter or a new story, a new book, a new script that's going to be written. No pun intended. But it's like it's the
script that I've heard.
It's the excitement of what teams can rise and fall, what empires will be made, what legacies will be made, what storylines will we have. These things you just don't know about. What teams will have their season derailed by injuries, unfortunately. It's going to happen somewhere. There are things that are going to happen that we just don't know. And that's what's exciting about this league, I think, is, the unpredictability and the thin margins of victory and loss.
Goodness gracious, and none were emphasized better than the margin last night between the two teams that fought to go to the Super Bowl. Ravens visiting the Chiefs last night in the opener. We'll get way more into the Brazil conversation, maybe go down to Brazil at some particular point in the program. There's a lot that you can have riding on one game. And I was thinking about this last night as the game was winding down. And the broadcast, I think Collinsworth said it. Lamar Jackson's taking this game really, really seriously. He's taking this game really seriously.
I heard that.
That's a strange way of putting it, but I did think about it, like
as opposed to when he wasn't.
You're just messing around.
He was just
playing around in week 9.
He was just, when you're with your buddies. All right, just
joshing.
I missed. You miss a couple shots. No, this one's for serious now.
Now I'm gonna start.
This one's for serious. I'm like, what was the last one for fake? You know what I mean? This one's for serious. But he's taking this game really seriously. Right. But
you could see both teams. There was a sense of urgency last night that maybe was a little bit heightened because of the opponent. In baseball, opening day is a remarkable holiday.
It's a holiday.
In the first day of the NBA season, you're like, wait a second, they open tonight?
You forget they open. Is this still preseason or not?
Barely know that it's happening.
Yep.
NHL, a little bit more of the pageantry for it.
Especially if you're a big hockey fan.
NFL, boom, we're right into mid-season form of breaking down every single piece of the situation.
Overreacting
and analyzing that this guy is going to stink all year long. How are they going to be able to block it up? Man, Ravens are going to struggle here for a couple of weeks, for a few weeks. That offensive line, I mean, all that youth, it's going to be tough. I don't know exactly if they're going to be able to hold up. And then AFC North, you start making all these predictions and statements, and then after last night, you'd say Xavier Worthy's the best player that we've seen. I mean, goodness gracious, Armin. How do the Buffalo Bills do this?
I don't know, man.
They've now traded twice in the last 8 years on draft day.
And I forgot
with the Kansas City Chiefs.
And you reminded me today of the first one. And that was amazing. I actually forgot that was
the 10th pick when the Buffalo Bills traded to the Kansas City Chiefs so they could go up and select this guy named Patrick Mahomes.
Man.
And then this year, the 28th pick, I believe it was, 26th pick to go and get Xavier Worthy, who first touch in the NFL is a touchdown.
Yeah, it's amazing, man.
And then gets left completely alone by Marlon Humphrey down the right sideline.
They totally forgot about him. It's almost like the Chiefs clone these guys. Small, fast guys that are always getting open for Patrick, that are always producing. Tyreek Hill is but a distant memory for them. A lot of people thought they couldn't survive without a star out there. And they just keep chugging along with recycling up, reloading this talent. Xavier Worthy looks like the next one. Rashee Rice obviously still there. It's pretty impressive what they can do, and that's what makes it tough to maintain a dynasty. But that's what they've been able to do is been able to reinvent themselves, do all these things, reload talent, and operate in that same way and keep the machine rolling.
It's one of the reasons why their dynastic run is so impressive, Armin.
Yes.
To be able to, like you said, reinvent themselves, win multiple ways. And then I was listening to Kelsey with Rich Eisen on the pregame show, which was elongated because of the weather delay.
Yeah, I mean,
which was kind of helpful for the football feasters.
You know what? It was funny because, I didn't really mind it because I'm like, we waited this long anyway. We'll wait 20 more minutes.
Wait an extra 20 minutes.
Make sure we can get all situated for the game.
What's an extra 20 minutes amongst friends?
You saw the radar.
Could happen tonight. Who knows?
Could. You knew it was passing. You know what I mean?
That'll be done.
Yeah, we're good.
So I'm listening to Eisen with Travis Kelsey, And in the conversation, he's like, wait a second, you're the only guy on offense that was here before Mahomes. And 2017 is not that long ago, right? Like Chris Jones on the defensive side, the only guy that's here pre Pat Mahomes. He's like, I've only known playoffs since I've gotten into the NFL.
Right.
But how teams generally keep a large amount of core members of their squad. This one is completely new.
It is.
From even when they won the first time around almost.
Yeah, and that's what's incredible about what they've done. They've been able to keep that machinery rolling. It sort of reminds me of the first and second Bulls three-peat, because everybody was different on that second three-peat, Billy, except for Scotty, and Michael. So that, and of course the coach. So it's incredible what they've been able to do. Now this is only game one. They won by a toe. Okay, so it's like, am I overreacting here? But it sure looks like they're going to be great again. And the thing about it is, poor Lamar, I mean, every time he probably tries to get so close to that summit, every time he gets close and close, and again, last night, he's so close to coming back, forcing a game-winning two-pointer, or they were going to go for two, and a toe. Like, this is how close, yet so far he can always come to vanquishing that.
Just before the Bateman catch down the right sideline to get him inside the 10.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second. He's out here throwing to, once again, two tight ends and a running back. That's basically all they were doing to push the ball down the field, and a great step up in the pocket to be able to elude some of that pressure on that.
He was great. I mean, he really was, like he always is. He can do almost everything that Patrick can do, except the most important plays. Patrick gets them done.
And like those most important plays would have been likely on first down in the corner of the end zone, or Flowers on the second down play.
He missed that wide open, on Zay.
But then I was listening to my man, and I couldn't fully get where he was going, that he was trying to actually throw it to Rashad Bateman. He thought Bateman was going to sit. And then as he's throwing the ball, he's like, holy cow, Zay's wide open. If I would have held it just a split second longer, that would have been an easy touchdown. Yeah. All things that are a lot easier for us to see on our 70-inch TVs. But, I mean, those are the difference between winning and losing. And as close as they could get, damn, those are two plays that they're going to think about and stew over until these teams most likely meet again in January.
And I'm sure that's their destiny. And Lamar's got to be thinking, what else do I have to do? I saw something this morning. I wish I could credit the tweet. I forget who did it. I think it's true. Patrick sort of has Tom Brady's luck with Aaron Rodgers' talent. Now he's much more than that. He's good with great coaching. But, it's not that far off. It's not that far off, Billy.
Oh, man.
Because Patrick's obviously a great, transcendent, talented player.
Yes.
He gets things done.
Yes.
He deserves it. But you can be a great player and things might not go your way sometimes. Things seem to go their way a lot, right? Or he has great teammates around him.
Yeah.
Great
Create
defense.
a lot of your own breaks.
He does. And of course that puts him in that position, but things also like, Chris Jones is great. Like he has these players around him that, the organization's good. The coaching's great. Things happen for them. I'm not saying just because the toe,
right?
I mean, I'm just saying in general, it seems to be,
you do need a lot of good fortune to win championships.
You just need moments to go your way. It doesn't mean it's always luck. Like luck's not the right word.
Well, also lucky's not as bad as derogatory of a term as we use in sports. I think it is a fact that championship teams will run into plenty of luck along the way.
Yes, things will work out for, things will happen for one team over the other in every play. Like there will be bounces, there will be assignments, caught balls, things like that work out. But you have to credit Lamar for doing everything he could last night. I guess the miss to Flowers would be, but he overcame that, made the right throw. They could have won that game. And it's incredible to think about how we kicked off another NFL season with a fantastic classic like that one last night.
It really does make you think there's no way they don't script this stuff.
I know what you mean.
As I'm sitting there,
it's not.
I'm sitting there, and then on the final play, I'm standing in my living room. Everybody in the house fast asleep. And I'm trying not to wake anyone while this is the greatest of all time. How on earth does this happen all the time? All football season, we're going to be captivated by this. And then we're going to have to wait another 7 or 8 months once it goes away. Oh, I'm so lucky that it's finally football season.
And that's what makes this game great. That's what makes the league great. And that's what brings people back all the time. and it's going to for the foreseeable future
for the next 5 months.
I don't know whatever this league is Teflon because the product is so good and so captivating. And let's be honest, everyone plays fantasy football. And
everybody does.
And that impacts everybody's interest.
As John Kincaid said last night on the Football Feast from the Philadelphia Fanatic, he said, listen, I mean, every 11-year-old's got a betting app on their phone now.
That's just true.
Everyone knows what a spread is. Everyone knows what a couple of player props are sitting like.
There are moms out there that have no idea what their kids are betting on up in their room.
Yeah, my wife knows Carson's got at least 1 or 2 parlay cards. But then how about this?
Parlays on there.
How about our guy JB in the 920?
How about JB? He's showing us the whole board.
Sending us his clips.
He bet the whole board.
He's got slips to prove my man JB got himself his first sports bets. And JB, I am proud of you. He said, I think Billy will be proud of me today. I'm fired up for you, JB.
Jimmy Vaccaro won 100 large last night on Twitter. Did you see he posted his slip on Twitter?
Wow.
On the Chiefs.
Big slip energy. Wow.
Chiefs to cover. Of course, he's going to show us that one from South Point.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense that you don't send us the one if you would have Ravens money line.
No, absolutely not. All right, we have good news, Billy. We're going to be flying all the way south to the border next segment.
What?
We're talking with John. We're talking with fullback.
Let's go.
Number 30 is going to join us on the
Diving onto the phone lines from south of the border, Southern Hemisphere. Sao Paulo, Brazil is where John Kuhn joins us from right after this. It's 9 to noon. That's Armin Sari, and I'm Billy Schmidt. You're on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. Keep it right here. John Kuhn joins us next as we get you ready for Packers and Eagles on a Packers game day on your home for Packers football, 97.3 The Game. 9 to noon on a finally Friday game day as the Packers take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Coming up tonight, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Arena Corinthians, the site for the game tonight. We got a couple of live looks inside the stadium last night when you were watching Ravens and Chiefs, and now boots on the ground. We go to Sao Paulo, Brazil. The fullback dives into the end zone and on to 9 to noon. John Kuhn joining us now on the NickLaw.com talking text line. John, how are the sights? How are the sounds? What on earth are you doing down in Sao Paulo, Brazil? How is it
today? Guys, I got to tell you, this trip has been incredibly pleasantly surprising.
Yes.
Let's go.
Love that.
That's what I wanted to hear, John. Personally. Yes.
I'm going to tell you, I am personally having a blast. The hospitality by the Brazilian natives have been amazing. Not just, to me, but to the team. And first and foremost, before we start talking about this game and breaking it down, can I tell you the love that Brazil has for football? I did not anticipate it. I thought we were infiltrating a new country to try and plant our flag and spread the good word of NFL to
steal their athletes,
right? Like evangelists, yeah.
But I can tell you guys that it's been incredibly fascinating to find out not just the who's, the whys, the whats, but the sounds and feels of what people feel like in Brazil when it comes to football. Now, let me start with this. Packers Brazil. You know Packers Brazil. I mean, you've been watching Packers Brazil and listening to Packers Brazil since this game was announced. I got to talk to the creator of Packers Brazil, and I had to ask him, why the Packers? Why the NFL? When did this thing start? And why is there such a fanatic fan base for the Green Bay Packers? You will not believe his answer, Armin, that he grew up and a bunch of his friends and big posse grew up in a town in southern Brazil with a famous person who ended up marrying a football player. Gisele Bündchen was so highly regarded in Brazil.
Yeah.
And when she got together with Tom Brady, it opened all these Brazilians' eyes to what American football was.
Oh, my God.
About that point in time, the Packers were playing the Giants in the NFC Championship game in early 2008. And all of the Brazilians took to the Green Bay Packers based off of that. Now,
it's amazing.
Is that a little bit of an umbrella? Is that a little bit presumptuous of all Brazilians? Yes, but a good portion of them pulled towards the Green Bay Packers here. But the game of football, American football, it's not to the heights of soccer in Brazil,
of course,
but it is beloved. There is a strong pull for it down here, and they have let us know that since we got here.
It's probably very similar to the way a lot of Americans now feel about soccer, right? There's a lot of people that love Premier League soccer. They pick their team, and every Saturday they're watching it.
Sure.
It's obviously not to the level of the other major sports in this country, but the fan base is there.
Who would be our Giselle in this situation?
I don't know. That's the tough thing about it.
I also think that makes a lot of sense.
Sporty Spice. It would have been Sporty Spice, right?
Maybe.
There we go.
Or Posh.
Posh Spice.
Posh.
Yeah.
Beckham's wife.
Well, it also makes sense, the urgency to get down there then.
Yes.
I mean, now that Tom and Giselle broke out, like the NFL said, hold on, we need to keep this market. Let's go get them a game.
So I do think it's ironic, yes.
Get them the best teams we can.
Get them the best teams we can. We have to save this because
no Panthers Giants for Brazil, all right? Send that to Munich. We know that they're going to get drunk and watch the game anyway.
And I have to, I guess, thank Tom Brady, right? This is what this is about. I have to say thank you to Tom Brady. But
I feel like you do.
John,
that's awesome.
And I'll say that. Okay. So thank you,
wish
Tom
him
Brady.
Good luck this weekend, too, while he makes his broadcasting
Good luck on that broadcasting debut.
Nice
I'm sure that check's going to cash beautifully for him. And will. No. But the thing is, John, I can't tell you how happy I am to hear you say that, you're there for real, on boots on the ground. You're actually there experiencing it. Because Billy knows this. I've been getting a little tired of the discourse last 24 hours of everybody complaining and thinking we shouldn't be there and something's going to go wrong in Brazil. I'm like, this is probably going to be just fine. And I'm sure there's an excited group of locals, a country that is proud of their culture. And
then we heard my man when Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love walked off the plane.
Yeah, John.
Let's gonna kick some over here.
Yeah, they're just yelling when you guys got off the plane.
Go kick us some ass over here.
So I think it's a great experience, and I'm glad to hear that, because I believe that was probably going to be the case.
And we have heard a lot of that, and like I said, this is a pretty incredible country, and for anybody that has not been here, you need to have precautions like anywhere that you go,
like anywhere
in the world. But
yeah,
there are some fascinating things that I am learning about the culture that I am very proud of, and I'm enjoying, while at the same time having conversations with other people on this trip with us, scouts and coaches and players. And the unanimous sentiment is this trip is better than going to Europe. This trip has been more pleasant. This trip has been easier to adjust to. And this trip has kind of pulled out the red carpet for us better than the way England and Great Britain had pulled out the red carpet over there. So, and that's not to take a shot, just to uplift what experience this has been here in Brazil for not just myself, but the players. And I thought a couple of days ago, getting on that plane, we were about to do a baton death march till this game here tonight, but it has been anything but. The food has been spectacular. The people have been spectacular. The travel has not been near as bad as it's been.
It's being reported as horrendous.
And I'm so glad to hear this, John, because people can get their own ways and their own little motivations to say all these things and create these ideas that
just like Jeff and Cudahy on the talking text, like, can you ask John about the 2-hour bus ride to the stadium?
So you rode a bus, okay? Yes. So you guys had a long bus ride, right, John? I mean,
we may have a long bus ride, but I'll tell you right now, every bus ride we've taken so far has come out under an hour. And they have all been
facts.
In the same direction. We'll be going to the same place here yet tonight. The bus ride, yes, we were on a bus for 55 minutes one way yesterday and 55 minutes back. But I can tell you one thing: the motorcade here in Brazil, they can shut down a highway faster than they can in the United States.
Let's go.
We've had bus rides in Chicago where those drivers do not respect the police trying to let us pass.
Well, I know.
Like the way the Brazilians respect their armed forces shutting down the roadways.
And it's funny you say that, because I did say to somebody
through those freeways.
They might have a bus ride, but I bet it's easier than getting from Soldier Field to Midway.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So we're gonna ask you about football too, but John, I'm glad to hear you say that. Awesome, because a lot of times it just takes, there's fear of the unknown, and a lot of times it just takes the little bit of courage to experience something for yourself, and you realize, wow, there's a world out there. These people are great, and it's a great experience. All right, so we saw you guys. The Eagles practiced at the stadium, but you guys had Packers had a different practice field, correct?
Yeah. So this is the thing, and last thing on the overall experience.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
This experience down here, I have to say, falls somewhere between, traveling early for a big road game like we used to do if we went out to the West Coast and we had a Sunday night game, but we would leave like a Friday night. It has to feel somewhere between that and a Super Bowl experience. Now, the game doesn't feel like the Super Bowl as much, but it does feel something bigger than a regular season game. With the travel, with all the expectations, with the billboards and all the welcome signage and the shirts that have the special patch on that say Sao Paulo, it feels different. It feels special. So there is something about this game that will always be remembered by every single person covering it or player at the game. Now, what was your question, Armin? I'm sorry, I forgot.
No, just about the practice situation. I know the practice field, I think, was the practice field for the soccer team, and then the Eagles were at the stadium, if I'm right.
Yeah. So with the Eagles being the home team, they have done everything they could to try and make their life more pleasant and make our lives not as pleasant. And that's the right of the home team. That's what they did. Really, 2 hotels suggested when this whole thing came out by the NFL, the Eagles chose the hotel directly next to the airport. We got the hotel, 20 miles, or
makes sense,
said, about an hour drive away from the airport. Ironically, the stadium, Corinthians Arena, is directly beside that hotel. That's directly beside the airport. So they saved themselves quite a bit of travel, and the Packers did as well. Now, they practiced at the stadium yesterday, the actual game stadium. The Packers practiced at the practice facility for Corinthians, which I thought was a phenomenal facility and a really cool atmosphere for us to get to go see that as well. And that's what every little nook and cranny that you can try and cram in there for an advantage for yourself. The Eagles are wearing white. The Packers are wearing green.
Right.
Is it going to matter with the weather? No, because the weather has been the best weather you could ever play football in. It's been about 75 to 79 degrees and zero humidity, and it's supposed to be a little cooler tonight. So the weather's going to have no impact. Is there some sort of psychological jinx factor with no teams wearing green in the stadium, as Eagles have chosen black helmets, white jerseys, black pants? Yeah, probably. They're playing as many mind games as they can. At the end of the day, it's who goes out there and who plays football the hardest and the longest, just like you saw last night in the Thursday night game.
Absolutely. It's about football in the end. I mean,
no doubt about it. Let them be worried about their nightmares.
When we get between the lines, all that's not going to matter. So hopefully the fact is, let them be more worried about those things in the pack.
John, now that we're like 10 hours away, what is most intriguing to you? What has been the biggest talker about the actual game coming up? Because the story over the last couple of days, Devin White loses the starting job in training camp to Nakobe Dean, the second or third year guy from Georgia. My man doesn't even get on the plane. He doesn't even go with them on Wednesday. What has been the biggest takeaway? Because we were just joking about in the first segment, this is the most discussed Packers game in the regular season that I can remember, because we knew about it so far in advance of even the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I would say first and foremost, both of these teams have had really good teams, had really great rosters within the last 2 years, if you really look at it, and they've only gotten better in the offseason, along with changing some coordinators. So there's going to be some new looks, there's going to be some new tendencies, there's going to be some new trends, while still a lot of talent on both of these rosters, top to bottom. I do think it's a big deal that Isaiah Rodgers and Devin White aren't playing in this game. They've both been ruled out by the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a big blow to a defense that's looking to make a big change this year. I mean, Packer fans, so much about these two teams look eerily similar to each other. Packer fans are like, well, man, if we just got to get the defense, if we can just get the defense right. Well, guess what? The Philadelphia Eagles, with all that talent over there, with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, with Darius Slay, with a slew of Georgia Bulldogs up front and in the second level, they struggled too last year down the stretch. They were not great in scoring defense. They were not great in defensive yardage per game. And they're looking to make a big come up this year too. I think it's going to be really much like last night's game. It's going to be a lot like last night's game, where you're going to see a couple haymakers early out of both offenses. Then both defenses are going to settle down, and they're going to take their shots, and they're going to show kind of what their defensive identities are going to be this year. And then it's going to be which quarterback has the, moxie to win this thing at the end,
right?
And which one is going to be seen as, man, big game, didn't quite get over the hump. That's what you saw last night in two phenomenal teams and two phenomenal quarterbacks. And I think you're going to see damn near the same thing here tonight.
How crazy was that game last night, John?
Incredible.
I mean, like we were saying, there's a feeling as if maybe Lamar Jackson's not going to be able to get over this Patrick Mahomes hump, because he did just about everything he could outside of hitting Isaiah Likely on first down and Zay Flowers on second down, from being able to go and steal that game last night with three offensive linemen that we saw them up close and personal. Now, they were far on the other side from where we were on the perch. I didn't know it was going to be that big of a deal. Poor Rosengart gets thrown out there for his first play. Good luck. Go block Chris Jones. Give up a strip sack fumble inside the 10-yard line. That was one of the most entertaining openers I can remember last night.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it beats the 2011 Packers Saints opener, if you remember that one.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
The fact that, the one that ended with a 4th and goal from the half-yard line and an A.J. Hawk over the pile to stop Mark Ingram over the pile. I mean, that one to me takes the cake for openers. But this one was a tremendous ball game. I do think that Lamar Jackson, for all the greatness he had last night, really those last 30 seconds should have spiked the ball, should not have tried to call the play. You could have had easily 3 shots at the end zone. You never know. A pass interference, a forced shot, so much time with 30 seconds left. I think by the time he ran that first down play and left himself with only 10 seconds, it limited what they were able to do. I would have liked to have seen him spike the ball. I would have liked to have seen him hit Zay Flowers. But a lot of what Lamar Jackson does is not about being on that platform, right? It's a lot about being able to extend plays and make plays, which for him, he's like a bunny. He's not straight back, straight forward. He's hopping around and he's so quick and he's ducking and dodging. That's what makes him dynamic. But he was not able to keep his feet settled when he saw Zay Flowers there at the last minute. And then obviously the last play, like, touchdown? Are you kidding me? When you watch it in full speed at first, I was like, oh, he's out. And then the ref threw his hands up and I said, guess I was wrong. And then you see just a shed. Now I ask you guys, had Isaiah Likely, if he was wearing 7 studs and his shoe didn't actually touch the grass, just his studs were in the grass, they would have been behind the line and potentially lifting the front of his shoe up off the line. Is he out of bounds?
That's a great question. That probably would have been one of the most controversial replay calls. That would have given Zabe at least an hour of content. I'm
just wondering. I mean, Kevin Durant's going to be on Kay Adams' show today. Does she ask him how Isaiah Likely feels this morning?
Only 9 million people made that reference. I think she probably will. The Kevin Durant toe him a line thing, and it's a game of inches, and that's why we love it. But it was a quite remarkable opener, and it would have helped. You talk about the spike in the ball thing. I think it would have helped too if John Harbaugh left him a timeout. But, they were like,
yeah, they took 2 in the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they had some timeouts there at the end. But what a way to kick off the season, John. Yeah. You're right about the Saints.
Also, don't forget they had to use the last timeout because Patrick Mahomes got a Patrick Mahomes call right at the sideline once again, a la the game against the Cincinnati Bengals a few years ago. So he's got a knack, and people are going to have to start looking out for when Patrick Mahomes hits the sideline. You can't even breathe on him. You can't even get close to him.
Yeah.
If it's an egregious hit, if it's a non-egregious hit, you can't even put your hands on it. They're going to have to stay away because I thought that call in that moment of that game didn't need to be made either. So, there's a lot to what went into last night. It's a game of inches, as we say. And, man, game of inches here tonight because these 2 rosters for the Eagles and the Packers are absolutely stacked.
No doubt. All right, but before we lose our chance here, John, the food.
Good call, yes.
The food. What have you been eating?
Good call, yes.
I want to know what you've been eating here, John.
I've been eating a little bit of everything, and I can tell you what, they can spice up some chicken, baby. They can get that chicken juicy and spiced up, and I don't know what kind of spices they are, but it's fantastic. A couple other observations: they don't have salad dressing, just olive oil and vinaigrette. So you got to make that work. I can do that, so I'm fine there. But I did have this traditional Brazilian dish. You got to look it up, Armin. I can't remember the name.
Okay.
It's got some sort of kielbasa or spicy sausage in it. It's got beef in it, and it's got this black bean puree mush that gets put over rice. So it's almost a little soupy, but it's really the black beans and maybe some little bit of water with the beef, with the sausage, and it's over top of rice. And that thing was an absolute electric.
Yeah, is it called?
I love that thing.
Feijoada? Brazilian black beans
Sounds
too.
Good.
Yeah, that might be.
Yeah, there it is.
I think that's what we're. It looks pretty good.
That's what we'll go. Oh, and then banana, not sorbet and not ice cream, but what's the other one?
I don't know.
Sherbet.
It's not sorbet and ice cream.
Frozen yogurt.
Gelato.
Oh, there was an Italian presence. We were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. The big debate on Zabe's show today. Butch and Zaben were almost going to blows on when you guys were flying back after the game, right?
Directly after the game. Yeah.
I mean, you have to get to the airport.
They went through a full 5-6 minutes of I think they're going to stay. I think it's going to be. No, they're going to get up out of there. They're going to get up out of there, get on home.
I mean, it's a process. You have to get to the airport.
Got to go through customs.
Right, but I think it's like a regular road game, right, John?
Like a road game, yeah. A normal day.
I wish I would have heard that.
There will be a race to see who can get to the airport and through customs the fastest. mean, I'm telling you right now, the beat for Green Bay is going to have a talking to. We need to get out before the Eagles get out. We got a longer flight. It's only polite. Let us go through customs and immigration first.
No, yeah, you're supposed to be nice to your guests. You're supposed to be gracious and let the guests leave first.
Hey, we saw the plane. You're not sitting in one of those pods, I'm assuming, John, where the players were. I'm assuming you're in the back of the plane, unfortunately.
The plane, this upgraded plane that the Packers, upgraded for is unbelievable. I am so thankful. Because, big guy like myself, we'd be way in the, yes, it was, I'm telling you, everything about this trip has been first class. The only thing that's left is to get the victory. Got to get the win.
Awesome. And it's going to happen tonight. Going to happen tonight. Packers money line continues to be a dominating force in the year of 2024.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Let's do it. All right, John, we can't wait, man. Thanks for joining us. Be safe and going maybe a little bit of morning gelato. That's never a bad thing. It's lunchtime there anyway. You can have some before the broadcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit a workout here, get some of the energy rolling, and then hit the pregame meal on the way to the buses here in about 4 hours.
There we go. Let's go. Get after it, man. Appreciate it, dude. And we'll be hearing you tonight.
Later, guys.
That's John Kuhn. Diving into the end zone and diving back into the Northern Hemisphere for a couple of minutes down from Sao Paulo, Brazil, as the Packers take on the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. Game you're going to hear right here on the game. We're way late for a timeout. Back after this, we'll be right back here with more conversation of Packers and Eagles, more on last night and what likely upset a lot of fantasy owners last night. It's 9 to noon after the break. NicoletLaw.com talking text line is how to get in on 9 to noon, like B in Burlington, who just hit us with his third text that said, sorry for texting a book. It's all good, B. Don't worry about it. He said, I understand their biggest rival wears green and white. That's why the owner of Corinthians hates green.
Correct.
But apparently he wanted to paint the grass black because he hates green so much.
Yeah, I mean, you heard a lot of things about this color, wearing green and all this stuff. Is it a gang thing? No, what happens is, the home team is the black and white of their team knit colors. Yeah. That's part of the reason the Eagles wanted to wear that tonight. Maybe try and get some fans, excited about them. And their rivals green, and they take it seriously. Right. So they're like, we're going just anything else. I mean, look at Raider Stadium. It's all color scheme to the black and white.
And B said, he goes, it's just really not that big of a deal besides the rivals' colors. People are great down there.
It's not.
My parents adopted my sister from Paraguay, and they had to live there for 8 months to get through all the court stuff. I'll never forget my parents saying how great the people were and how the culture was down there.
I mean, I'm sure, when the first time I ever went to Armenia, I didn't know what to expect either. I knew I was Armenian, but I didn't know what to expect. I mean, this is a small foreign country I've never been to that, who knows what to expect. And you get nervous, and then you realize once you're there, it's such a great experience that, yes, there are just great people everywhere, that people are welcoming everywhere. They're just like you. So it's just a matter of stepping outside your comfort zone a little bit. And I think some of the discourse has been a little bit exhausting for me because it seems like a little bit of nonsense. Like all the stuff people have talked about, or don't use X, you're going to go to jail. Come on. Like, I just.
No, it was good to hear that John's having a good time. Good to hear that everything is going well.
Yeah.
And good to hear how positive everything has been.
You got to be safe everywhere. You got to look out for yourself everywhere, right? It could be, anywhere here at home.
No doubt about
it. Anything
could
happen.
Walking down to Fiserv Forum to go to the Bango Pro Shop's big sale that starts up for day number 2 coming up at 10 a.m.
I heard about that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it, but how is this going to compare to other pro shops or other clubhouse store deals and stuff like that?
Well, listen, if it's anything like when your boy was running the old Bradley Center.
Oh, yes. The
closeout sales.
Those like the Authentics, or just like
they sold anything and everything in that warehouse, and everything was like $5 or $10. Now, I don't believe that was the case because that was, in 2010, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, and
back when Keon Dooling roamed the earth.
Yeah, and you could go and get yourself a I don't know, a David Noel jersey.
Hey man, if you're a North Carolina fan, that's huge.
That was a huge win, right? So you're like, hey, I really want to get that Charlie Bell number 42. Well, we had him.
Do I need a God's Reach jersey?
Absolutely, you do.
Yes, I do. Yes.
You know what I really want? A Vanilla Gorilla t-shirt.
Oh my god.
Let me get a Joel Prisbilla. No, but the big sale going on. I don't know exactly how well, but the pictures looked really good.
Looks good. All right.
I was excited to go and maybe check it out a little bit later if we had some time. We got a lot of time for you on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line 414-799-1973. Packers and Eagles. What and who, more importantly, game changers tonight who could be season shifters for 2024. We'll discuss our biggest picks to click. They were calling them the wild ass projections, guesses last night on the Drew and KB show. X factors. We just like to say the dudes, the ones that are going to change the season for the Green Bay Packers, the most important ones, and who does it tonight, most importantly, so they can get a little cash on that plus 115 on the Packers money line over at Potawatomi Sportsbook. That comes up in hour 3. It's 9 to noon. Stay wide on the game. Just let it go, Armin.
Hang on, I'm back in 2009 or 2010. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Jersey Shore's on.
Here it is. Oh, I
Pretty
thought it was
close.
dropping. I got too excited.
You ready to beat that?
I got too excited. Hold on. Cam's here. Those are real vertical fist bumps for everybody on YouTube and X.
Yeah, you gotta beat that beat up.
Straightforward. I always thought they were up in the air.
You gotta beat that. You gotta beat that beat up. You gotta beat it back when we're at Karma. We're at Karma. We're beating that beat up. Everybody's having a good time.
It's the
then
best.
I see Sammy and Ronnie in the corner fighting again.
Classic.
That was the best
You're
time.
done, Ron. You're done.
Ron, stop.
You're done, Ron.
I don't know, Billy. It was just something about those 3 years. You know, I was a young man back then. You were too.
No
but
doubt. Yes.
I don't know if you were still in high school, maybe.
I was in middle school, high school. Yeah.
And, you know, we were hitting up Water Street and Buckheads.
What?
Back then, it was Buckheads.
Uh-huh.
We were hitting up what was my spot? Whiskey Bar.
What?
And then you come home at 2 a.m. and the reruns are on every night.
And you're immediately going
Of
we had just that much fun.
Of Jersey Shore.
Can't wait to do it again tomorrow.
That was it. You just watch Jersey
Man.
Shore on reruns every night. They've been watching that. One shot, kid. One shot.
What an awesome day.
That episode was on all the time. I love that. I used to love Jersey Shore.
I can't wait till you start watching Jersey Shore with Lena. I think that's going to be the best part once you start introducing that to her life.
They'll still be on air when she's in high school.
100%.
Jersey Shore Family Vacation will become Jersey Shore Middle Age. Jersey Shore.
Yeah, Jersey Shore AARP.
People want to see how they're growing up. I mean, they might not be getting the biggest ratings, but it's still happening.
But it's getting some kind of rating. It's getting some kind of rating. Maybe not the big rating that the Packers and Eagles will get tonight. It's going to be a banger on Peacock tonight. NBC had the start of the NFL season last night, which was an electric factory in Kansas City. We've talked about it. We've discussed it. We've discussed this game so much leading up to it. There's so many great players on both sides. I thought John put it really, really well there that both teams are expected to take leaps, even though there's so much new factor to it. There's just an anticipation that the young players on both sides are getting better. And where Philadelphia has had to go and pick up some of those guys, right?
Yeah.
Like Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown.
Yeah, AJ's another good
They
one.
did draft Devonta Smith and obviously Jalen Hurts. A lot of what they have up front are guys that they have drafted. Cam Jurgens, who's going to take over for Jason Kelsey at center. That's a draft pick from Nebraska who they've developed for the last couple of years. So they know what they're doing in the development side from Philadelphia. They only get glorified for it publicly about how Howie Roseman goes about his process. But the Packers has, man, the trendy pick right now.
Mhm.
Peter Schrager had him yesterday, Armin, losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Now, Schrager's had, I think, the last 5 Super Bowls right. A remarkable run for Good Morning Football. Like, both teams are in what would feel like the ascent, even though the Packers might be more of the 2022 Eagles than the 2024 Eagles, where they're trying to see if they can reclaim a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. Or I relate it to old Packer teams is what I always do as well. Young, talented on the ascent, think you have the right guy at the right spot, but you still don't know yet. Like when the Packers burst on the scene with Brett in 93, 94, 95, it was, can they finally break through that wild card? 95, then they started getting picked again, Super Bowl. I mean, after the Packers in 2009 lost to the Cardinals, they were another popular pick. And that's young, ascending, talented. And you hope this is the next group that is destined to take that next step. We don't know if it'll happen. You can't guarantee what's going to happen in the future. Nothing is promised. Sometimes things look like they're ascending in the right direction and they don't. So hopefully this is the group. And whether it's this year, next year, who knows? But I think we all expect the Packers to play well. And like you said, Billy, that's what makes them a sexy pick. That's what makes them an attractive.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Kind of a half dark horse, but not really, because they're really good, but maybe not the safest.
Everybody wants to have some bit of a newness to their pick, right?
To their pick, yeah.
What else could you pick than 49ers Chiefs? That would be the easiest one to go by, and I understand why most people do take that chalk because they're two amazing teams, right? Like you watched last night, it looks like Kansas City's much better than they were last year, and they won the freaking Super Bowl last year.
And if you look at these teams as empires that rise and fall, which usually happens, but not always, that's how we used to look at these things. you might say the Lions are that team a year ahead, maybe, or a year or two ahead of the Packers. So I think a lot of people would say Packers will be good, but maybe they picked the Lions in the Super Bowl, not the Packers. So you just don't, there's so much that can happen. We don't know how it'll actually play out, right?
Yeah. And I heard Heller getting into this a little bit yesterday, where and maybe he was taking some heat for it, maybe he wasn't. I understand where his point was. I don't know that I would have gone on some of the ledges that he did with the worst to first to worst thing in the NFL, but it happens every single year. You see empires fall maybe a year earlier than you anticipated being.
Yes.
Or sometimes just out of the clear blue. Sometimes you just have a down year. Sometimes breaks just do not go your way at all. And you're sitting at 7-10 at the end of the season.
I mean, NFL history is littered with teams that had promise, with franchises that believed they're in the right direction, that thought they had the right guys, and for one reason or another didn't work out, right? And you never know that. It's the question of then based on history, somebody will surprise in a good and positive way and a negative way. Like, who will take that step back? Who will surprise in the other way? So, yeah, Billy, those are the questions to be answered here. And a lot can go on in these games. Obviously, a lot of matchups that we'll decide tonight. And we just don't know how these teams will come. They're, new look teams. Obviously, Fangio's running the defense now for Eagles. There's so many different factors that could change these things.
There's so much of it. NicoletLaw.com talking text line 414-799-1973. We want to know who your game changer is tonight, but you think is going to be a season shifter throughout the year, right? So big game one leads to a big season, right? Who can kickstart their massive season for the Green Bay Packers tonight? And you expect to have a big game, 414-799-1973. What about this one, though, from Buddy Pal in Kenosha, where I just couldn't disagree with this a lot more. I hope American football never takes seed in other countries. Remember how great the NBA draft used to be until Euros came along?
I mean, I guess.
Do we want that to happen to the NFL draft in 20 years? It's not an irrational concern.
Okay, so I'm trying to take the comment at face value. I guess I understand what he's saying. We did enjoy the draft more when it was college stars that we knew. I'm not sure the game was better or worse. Like, the game's better when it's international. In my opinion,
like 4 of the best 5 players in the league are all international guys right now.
I know it was easier to follow when you would watch a guy in college and then they would get drafted, but I don't think it made the game
Man, Buddy
worse.
must really hate the G League Ignite.
Because there's a bunch of guys he doesn't know that
must really hate that.
American AAU players, basically. I mean, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, he knows Caleb Love and from a couple of different institutions. Like, I couldn't disagree with it more from the football aspect of it.
Right.
Jordan Mailata is going to be the starting left tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. One of the best left tackles in the game. He comes through the International Pathway Program. One of the first guys to be able to elevate through it. The game is going to be better when the best athletes from around the world are playing it. I don't think that's a hot take.
I mean,
if you can pull more of the best Australian rules football players and find ways for them to develop as American football players, I think that only helps the sport of football. I don't see it growing and planting seeds and people playing and learning and loving it from an early age.
Sure.
There's no way that that's a bad thing and a downside to the NFL.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself, I mean, do I want to watch great players or not? You know what I mean?
I don't care where they come from. Actually, I like to hear stories of when they come from other places.
Right. I'm with you, Billy, but I mean, maybe it was easier to follow. Maybe there's something about it being the American game. I mean,
I get your college thing from like the 80s and 90s when guys stayed 3-4 years and you knew them in college.
It was fun to follow them and you knew their names.
You've hated the NBA draft for the last 15 years, not just because of the European invasion, not just because some of the best players at 18, 19, 20 years old right now are from France.
I mean, baseball is a worldwide game now.
Very much so.
I mean, that's not even so. It is what it is. I enjoy it anyway. It doesn't matter to me. But the other thing is, that means you don't want the game to be popular or good. Like, well,
yeah, that's a strange take.
I don't know.
Strange take.
It doesn't change my enjoyment of it. I would just say, the Americans have to continue to play well.
If this dude is consistent, he must hate having Giannis on the team.
Well, I mean,
must hate Giannis.
I mean, would you rather watch Giannis and Embiid and all these other great players or not? I mean, would you rather watch Jokic?
Apparently, Frank Kaminsky.
I mean, that would be. You'd rather watch Michael Doliak play center and those type of games. I don't know. No, I mean, listen, it's a better game when you get pulled from the best talent in the world. And I would agree with that, Billy. I don't think it's worse. I don't think any sense in that.
Jay Lebowski did say, Billy, you should have played rugby. Big guys get to run and score. Yeah, I'll tell you this. Your boy may have been a little too soft for rugby. That is a grown man game. Sport. That is a fun game, though.
And I do wonder, like, all the time, if certain athletes from a young age put their efforts into a different sport, what would they be good at?
Oh, totally.
Always think that. And people have done it with LeBron.
Well, and people do it for the United States. We do it for soccer. Why can't we be better? Yeah. Why can't we win? Why don't we win? If our best players train that way, then we would be so much better. The NFL could think the same way about their sport.
Sure.
I mean, it is still in its infancy all around the world. That's where I thought it was awesome hearing John talk about, yeah, they've been fans of football for like 15, 20 years
for a long time. You know, they love it. And that was fantastic to hear. And it's not a game that's still as popular as it is, especially money-wise. You know, it's in the United States, it's not necessarily the most popular sport. It's not even close to that across the world, but
yeah, no doubt.
But I'm sure it's growing. I mean, I keep hearing about how we lost in a football game in Japan. What was that?
That was in the young under 20s. We lost to Japan by 3 touchdowns, Armin.
Gone are the days. I mean,
3 touchdowns we lost.
We can't.
And then we lost to Austria, I believe, in the 3rd place game.
Austria's got some tough players. You know,
but isn't that a tiny country?
It's tiny. It's not a real thing. But listen, this was my whole thing.
I mean, you've told me about the Once Brothers story how many different times? Like, that's a tiny area.
But listen, okay, this is sort of like in high school when you had didn't you have international players come and visit? And you played a game and it was like 69-0 or like.
We went and played a semi-pro team in Italy when I was at Carroll University. Yeah. And it was a collection of like 35 to 45-year-old guys. And it was a very, very interesting experience.
So I'm not that
fun, though.
Worried about it. If we really put our best out there, I'm sure we'd still win.
I hope so. I hope that's where it is. 414-799-1973. And I hope that many people are right like Carlos and Albany, because this is an X factor that fantasy-wise, people were taking notice of. A lot of talk about Romeo Doubs. A lot of talk about Christian Watson. A lot of talk about Jaden Reed. Understandably.
Dontavian, even maybe some certain guys. Yeah,
that's where it is. Carlos and Albany says Dontavian Wick's going to be the X factor this year. Leads the Packers in receiving yards.
You saw my last pick in our iHeart Fantasy draft, Billy.
How about that?
I took that flyer on Dontavian. I mean, that's the thing about this Packers young receiving core. There's so much talent out there, and it almost you forget about the guys that you thought. I mean, Christian Watson can still be that guy, I think, you know, and then you got Romeo, so solid. Forget about Jaden Reed, how he popped last year. You know, it's the possibilities are endless and they're very exciting. They're very, very tempting to think of what the possibilities of this young, talented receiving core could be. And Dontavian could be that guy that could break out. No doubt about it.
Eddie the Falconer, Narv Dog is my game changer. He's going to kickstart this season with at least 3 game winners this year.
Boy, he sounds fired up, doesn't he?
Come on, Narv Dog, let's go.
Hey, if you don't want pressure, you shouldn't be playing this game anyway.
I also love when he said, "You're lying if you say you don't feel pressure."
Oh, I love that he's honest.
You're lying if you don't.
Yeah, it's part of the game, and everyone. Yeah, some guys will try and pretend they don't, right, Billy? But I love how honest he is about it. Big summer for him. He got married. I'm sure he's happy to be part of the roster.
And got married overseas. Actually,
did it was like a what? How'd you? Oh, did he?
Yeah, he said it in the interview. You didn't hear him say that? Yeah, he said he's only been out of the country 1 time, and it was when he got married earlier this year. CJ hits us up with Xavier McKinney, Jaden Reed, and you're going to get a 1 for this one. Zach Tom, number 50.
Oh, yeah, baby. Let's go.
Also drops in here, 71 is going to be the dad this year, meaning Josh Myers.
Okay.
Josh Myers, very interesting in the middle of the offense.
He really is, yeah. A grinder veteran right now at this point.
Give me 30 seconds to tell you why this is huge for Josh Myers.
Okay.
Going into a contract year. Clearly thought of higher in the Packers organization than he is on Twitter. Right? Last year, when you heard Adam Stenovich say it a couple of different times, he's actually improving quite a bit. And then towards the back half of the year, it was wild. Nobody was tweeting about him. There weren't as many videos and cut-ups of him missing this block or that block, this one or that one, stepping this way, stepping that way. He firms up in the center spot. It silences the idea where they're floating around Zach Tom could come and take your job and be a Hall of Fame center instead of just like in a Pro Bowl tackle or an all-pro guard. There's a lot invested that you could go and grab if you're Josh Myers.
Sure.
Here and elsewhere. I mean, John Runyon just got 3 years, $30 million playing next to him. Josh Myers is a better football player than Jon Runyan, in my estimation. So either way, he's going to get paid if he plays well this year. Here, I know Goody and the Packers would like to sign that deal. However, other teams might be very, very aggressive in trying to go and sign that deal.
Yeah,
big year for Josh Myers.
It is, and you're right, Billy. For a while, he was kind of like public enemy number one for like Packer fans, and you saw the cut-ups on Twitter and things like that. But it is going to be a really interesting year for him. I think he gets forgotten about a little bit now with some of these other linemen. So we'll see how he can do. No doubt about it. That will be an X factor. Stuff for you to always. I mean, I know that's your favorite thing to watch is line play.
That is my favorite thing to watch. Yeah, it is my favorite thing to watch. Janesville Joe said, Billy, I think the text was just saying that the draft will not be as exciting because of the fact that international players won't be as widely known for the level of the game. For sure, it's going to elevate the level, but I don't think that was the intent. And Joe, that's where I'm saying, like, I do think, and this is where football might be unique in it, where European and foreign players in the NBA going into the NBA draft, they're playing professionally,
right?
At like Luka Doncic was playing professionally at like 16 years old, right?
Absolutely.
There's so many professional leagues that way to learn and get better and play. And now some of those European leagues, they're not competing with the NBA, but they're paying well enough to where NBA players who are bottom of the barrel, Patrick Beverley, saying, I could go be a really, really good player over here, make a bunch of money, or I could be one of the later guys on the bench over here. I'm going to actually go choose that one and have the experience. I think in football, you will see more situations like an Alex Hale, where even though it's a Jordan Mailata or Favali, I believe is how you pronounce the guard's name for the Ravens last night, he played his football at Minnesota. You'll see colleges go and be able to find players that way. So you will still know a large portion of these players.
Let's be fair. I mean, yes, talking about it's more exciting to see guys drafted that you know about. Let's be fair. After the first round, most people don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Only the sickos that are hanging out with me, Doug and Wayne Larrabee know. Yeah.
And it's not.
And we appreciate all of you.
It's not to disparage.
Love you guys. That's why we're doing it, because we are too.
And it's not to disparage the sickos. You perform a very important role for everybody else. And not to disparage those who don't know, because it's hard to keep track of that much personnel in Division I college football to sit there and say, I know all these guys getting drafted in the 5th and 6th or 7th round. Not everyone can do that. So my point is, I don't think it'll change your enjoyment that much. That's just me. That's how I feel about it.
I love these texts coming in. Difference makers, game changers tonight that shift the season for the Green Bay Packers. A lot of Josh Jacobs love. But TK and Grafton said, difference maker for tonight in the season, Josh Jacobs, too much chalk. I really look forward to having a solid, dependable, reliable bell cow back for the Green Bay Packers. Tony in Vegas, Jacobs is the key. They're not the only ones saying number 8. I'm excited for Packers fans to get a full dose of Josh Jacobs in the Packers backfield, and it might just really, really fully start up here tonight. 414-799-1973. You're going to hear from Jordan Love coming up as well. He spoke yesterday, fresh off the plane, excited and fired up. Going to hear that coming up in about 10 minutes. We got your chance, the final chance for somebody to be in to beat the guys and eat with the guys at Carnivore. Week 1 concludes, and you bet in about a half hour from right now. Your game changers for tonight. CJ says all eyes on the safety. We flip the room. Let's ride. We ride into week 1 in a Packers game day right here on 9 to noon. Stay wide on the game. Packers game day on the game. Your home for Packers football. Pre-game starts with Doug Russell, the Love Muscle, at 3 from the Potawatomi Sportsbook studio. It is an amazing place. That Potawatomi Sportsbook studio.
Yes. I haven't been up there yet. I know you have. I gotta get in that studio and start cooking.
Oh no, they'll cook for you.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What can we get you, sir?
Man, that's awesome.
I'm telling you, dude, I had the chicken and waffles the last time I was over there.
Oh my goodness. I love chicken and waffles.
I've had 3 dreams about those chicken and waffles.
So chicken and waffles for me has been it's been a high riser on the rankings of ordering when I see it on the menu.
Well, I saw at our wedding when you got the mammoth chicken and waffles out in Las Vegas.
I didn't know it was gonna be that big. It was pretty big.
They bring out, Armin, a legitimate half chicken.
Big chicken, man.
And like 8 waffles.
And a huge knife right in the middle.
Right in the middle of all of it.
And I'm like, what did I get myself into?
But you were nibbling at it. You were going after it.
No, I think.
So it's a high riser for you right now. Is the chicken and waffles?
When I see chicken and waffles, it's a high riser on the like. When you think about in your head right away when you see a menu, what am I going to order? What's on the what are my rankings internally?
Yep.
It's always up there. It's always up there.
And my rationale for why. It's not something you're cooking yourself.
That's the thing.
But it's going to be awesome.
I'm not going to get it myself. I could get a pasta dish, but I could probably make that at home.
I can make myself some spaghetti.
Not that I don't want it sometimes when I want it.
For sure.
But when I see something I'm not going to
make myself. And not that a restaurant doesn't do it better than I do
they
sometimes.
Do it much better than I do, Or if I, one in Rome, literally, I ate pasta. But the thing is, you're there. I'm here. I'm there. I'm going to eat it. But when you see something like that, and I'm never going to make chicken and waffles at home, probably. And if I do, it's going to be like I put the Tyson, frozen tenders
in the air fryer
and the Eggo waffle. Just doesn't hit the same.
It doesn't hit the same as the big old Belgian waffle with a big old piece of chicken on top.
So that is
some hot honey. Ooh.
That's something I got to try. I mean, obviously the coon dog's on the menu.
Got to be there.
The menu's stacked. The menu
awesome.
is stacked, and I got to get up in that studio.
Dude, it's going to be bumping tonight.
Because one place I haven't been yet is in the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Is that kind of balcony,
the second level,
that balcony level.
That little mezzanine balcony level.
How can I be one of the high rollers to get up in here?
Yeah, you just got to be Doug Russell.
Exactly.
It's got to be Doug Russell. He's
Doug.
hanging out there tonight from 3 to 5. 5 o'clock starts our network coverage. That's when John, Wayne, and Larry will start from Brazil. Lil Birdie has told me we might have a special guest joining them at some point during Packers preview.
Well, how about that?
We already know the special guest, my favorite guest of the show, when What's Cooking with Wes fires up.
That is a great one.
I have let that be known. I have let that be known. That is my favorite part of the show.
I love when they go around the horn to Mike and James Jones, and then Wes jumps in there.
And then when Mike tries to ask James a question,
right.
Wes is like, James is like, I'm answering Dennis's questions. I apologize, Heller, but I'm answering Dennis's questions.
That's always fun. Yeah. So
that's a great show. That starts up at 5, takes you up to the game broadcast. Obviously, Wayne, Larry, and John dominate the game broadcast. Chandra Lynn going to be with us as well, giving us the game updates. You, Hunter, working your absolute tails off. And then Drew and I, apparently, according to Brian Butch, talking to no one tonight on Packers OT.
Oh, did Butch throw a little shade?
Apparently, Brian Butch said nobody calling Packers OT tonight. Brian Butch. My brother.
I guess you haven't seen Hunter screen them calls after some of these games.
First off, blatant disrespect to my man Charles in Arkdale.
Yes.
Charles will be there.
Charles in Arkdale.
Through hell or high water, my man Charles in Arkdale is going to be on Packers.
He's already on hold, actually.
He's waiting already. He can't wait.
Charles in Arkdale will be there to tell you about the tight end drags.
Some of my favorite conversations, because he's also, and people will make fun of certain things.
Right.
I never will. You want to write down a couple of things you want to say when you're on the air, because Packers OT is whipping, right? 9 to noon, we chop it up a little bit,
different
go back
pace.
and forth, different pace.
Yeah.
Little quick trigger on Packers OT.
Oh, it has
you
to
want
be.
to write down what you have? Hey, nobody is going to fault you.
No, write it down. Put it in.
Appreciate it.
Hey, put it in Chat GPT for all I care.
Figure out what you want to say. I mean, Charles has that outline. He dials it up. So Brian Butch is mistaken, because the Packers OT callers are going to be there tonight after the Eagles catch a fat L by the Green Bay Packers in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Did I already let my prediction slip out?
I think you might.
Did I just let my prediction slip out? Unbelievable. I seem to do that all the time. That's like where we get things on a NicoletLaw.com talking text line where things slip on by. Joe in Green Bay slipped by Quick Trip, grabbed himself that Cafe Karuba green and gold cup. I don't normally drink coffee, but it's a beautiful green and yellow cup. It caught my eye. Go Pack Go. Xavier McKinney, tonight's X Factor. He's got a prediction of an interception late to seal the deal.
I would love that. I mean, shades of Adrian Amos back in that opener against the Bears.
Yes.
Newcomer safeties clinching it. And I love that. I like to think I had something to do with the fact that Joe was motivated to get the Packer Cup today.
Yeah, you've been bringing that up. That up. Now, I didn't get the Packers Cup today when I went to Quick Trip to get my Cafe Karuba.
Okay. I didn't stop today, unfortunately. I didn't.
I just do the fill up.
Yeah, you did.
I feel like a hardcore regular.
But you know what? That's something you can do a Quick Trip.
Yes,
that's something
you can bring in this beautiful Yeti, which, hey, I will be a dumb brand loyal guy. This one where I love this thing.
Yeah.
Fills it on up.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the people over at Quick Trip. And, at that point, it was a game day, so I grabbed a Long John.
You got to get a look. Come on. You got to.
I had to get a Long John and a sandwich. All right, 414-799-1973. Interesting that now I bring on Jonathan on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Jonathan's in Green Bay. He's got an X factor for us today as the Packers take on the Eagles in the opener. Jonathan, what's happening?
Hey, guys. How are you doing? Billy Harmon.
What's up, buddy?
Content. Can you hear me?
We got you loud and clear, man. We're doing great.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so the two keys to this game, in my opinion, on the offensive side of the ball, LaFleur is going to cook with Josh Jacobs. They're going to run a bunch of power. They're going to run a bunch of different stuff. They're going to hammer away and try to establish the run. And then Jordan's going to just get going, get cooking after maybe into the middle of the second quarter. On the defensive side of the ball, I think you're going to see a lot of pressure because this is a new offense for Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to see him bringing 5, sometimes maybe bringing 6. They're going to be flying around and trying to confuse him and make him prove that he has the command of the new offense, which I think is kind of presumptuous because he doesn't. I think it's kind of a new coordinator. I mean, you don't know what type of command he has.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Jonathan. Thanks for the call. It's a really good point that for Jalen Hurts, not only is this a new offense, there's a lot of the same personnel. Battery Mate is different. And I still think taking away their biggest weapon last year, which was if it's 4th and a yard and a half, it was essentially 1st and 10 because they were going to push that thing through, grab the first down, and the Packers were the first team to really stop it a couple of years ago on that Sunday night game when Jordan Love got his first opportunities. I do expect, like Jonathan said, there to be a decent amount of pressure, Armin, because as much as Jeff Hafley has talked about wanting to bring pressure, wanting to be aggressive, wanting to play man coverage on the outside, I just think he goes to what he wants to do in game one. As much as you want to have some unscouted looks, you want to have some things that teams aren't going to be expecting. People don't know how he's going to call an NFL defense because he hasn't before. I think that is where his let it rip trademark, when he said that and people jumped on it, I do believe him in the regard of, I think he's just going to be who he is and what got him this job here in game one.
I think so. And there's a lot in that sense unknown about what the defense will look like under Jeff Hafley. I think that's something that's most anticipated by Packers fans is to see a new coordinator's defense. And I think there's this hope that'll be an ultra aggressive defense because I've said this before, Billy. I think most fans just equate aggressiveness with being good. And every time you want a new defensive coordinator, you want a guy that seems aggressive because that's, that instinctually, that's what you think is a good thing. I don't think Joe Barry necessarily had a non-productive defense most of the time. His thing was umbrella. It wasn't sexy. It didn't look aggressive, but it was maintaining and designed to prevent big plays. But that's one thing we're going to see with Hafley's defense. Is it going to be aggressive and depend on those great safeties in the back end to protect? We don't know, and that's what makes it exciting. So we'll see what's going to happen tonight. I think pressure would be a good idea, but then again, like anything else, you have to find and pick your spots. And I do like the idea of establishing Jacobs early.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Right there too. So.
I think Josh Jacobs is going to be a massive talker for Packers fans coming off of this game. Like there is watching how productive and how different Jordan Love had a command of the offense, how good he was off play action, and more than anything, just what the Matt LaFleur kind of offense was when he first came to Green Bay, right? We did a lot of that show going into the 2023 season. We're going to see more Matt LaFleur's offense. Going to see Matt LaFleur's offense. We're going to see a lot more of Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love's offense.
Definitely.
And I think what people anticipated Matt LaFleur wanted to do more of, I think there's some of that to Jordan Love's game that only gets better when you use it, right? I think him in play action only makes Jordan more dangerous on the outside, helps him settle into the game, and all that starts with Josh Jacobs in the backfield. 414-799-1973. A lot of them. Keep them coming on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. X Factors and Aaron in Milwaukee said, why all these teasers about the iHeart Fantasy League? Just go game by game, pick by pick, team by team. Oh, wait, we don't care. Yeah, Aaron, no one wants that.
I said one pick I had because it applied to the Packers talk, okay? I said one thing. I said I took Dontavian Wicks. That was it. I didn't.
How dare you?
I didn't start breaking down my fantasy team, okay? Yeah.
There's no more fantasy conversation that way, but we will mention some players that could be picks to click throughout the weekend as well. We got our picks, the ones to beat, to eat with the guys in 20 minutes back before then with Jordan Love. It's 9 to noon on the Game.
Better be quick.
9 to noon on the game. Packers and Eagles from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Your X Factors on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line 414-799-1973 for tonight and for the rest of the season as we roll through Mike and Lacrosse. Rejuvenated defense number 1, Dontavian Wicks number 2. P.S. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a game winner tonight from Narveson. Braden Narveson.
Yeah, I think so.
Got more support than any kicker that could have had last year or anybody was going to have in camp. There's a lot of love for Narv Dog, and I am so for it right now.
It's almost like Packers fans just want something different than what they were used to.
Anything's got to be better than what we saw before. That was what one of the reactions to the Chris Narv or the. There we go. There's gonna be a lot of Chris Narveson drops.
We love you, Chris Narveson, wherever you are. This is.
I missed your Big 12-6 curveball.
That was it, man. This is your.
Sorry. Uncle Charlie is what it's apparently called.
I mean,
I think Jeff Levering was listening to that crossover because that son of a gun dropped it in like the first inning.
I did hear
of that game.
What was up with that?
Levering, you sly son of a gun.
He's definitely listening.
He was definitely listening to the crossover with Mike and us. Sorry, I apologize. Go ahead.
You're out there listening, Jeff.
Appreciate you, Jeff.
And this is Chris Narveson. This is his second moment right now.
It is, yes.
Everyone's thinking about you these days, Narv Dog. You know?
So for Braden Narveson, it could. You could have had zero understanding of what he could have possibly done in his prior kicking life. As long as he wasn't named Anders Carlson or Greg Joseph, Packers fans were going to be excited.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like.
Now let's just take the baton and run with it here, Narv Dog. Yeah. Come on. The back story's beautiful.
It's great.
Armin.
His wife's from Wisconsin.
Undrafted.
Yeah. Really excited.
Great opportunity.
Everyone loves everything he's been saying. He seems like a guy, is just super eager to be part of the team.
Jayden Reed likes him. Jair Alexander said this guy's different.
They love his
Let's
attitude.
Do it. Come on, Narv Dog.
And maybe there's a diamond in the rough we saw. I mean, we found, who knows? I mean, no kicker's perfect. Justin Tucker missed kicks last night. So
missed a pretty big one there on that 52-yarder. That was a fascinating graphic they threw up there. He was 1 of 5 from 50 plus last year.
Maybe the shine has worn off Justin Tucker. Maybe he's not that guy. Maybe he's living off a reputation now. I don't know. All I know is that stuff does matter. Reputation does matter because a lot of people thought Anders was worse than he was, and a lot of people might think that Justin Tucker's never missed a kick before. That's just the way things go.
Yeah, it was a big hole in his game last year, and a big swing and a miss last night for those people that may have live bet the Ravens at plus 4.5.
Yeah, you missed that. But listen, he's still a good kicker. I understand the situation. He'll be fine. But I'm just saying.
Those are the two best in the league last year.
Basically.
That we saw last night in Butker and Tucker, and both got a little bit of flaws still in their game. I still think one of my favorite things to hear on this NicolaLaw.com talking text line, any reference to Fritz Shurmur. 414.
One of the best.
Bring back that Fritz Shurmur style, high pressure, press man defense. I'm ready for it. Been dreaming about it for 25 years.
Can't get pressure with 4, bring in a 5th. If we can't get pressure with 5, we're bringing a
6.
If we can't get pressure with 6,
we got the
7.
safeties to back it up now.
And if we can't get pressure with 7, we're dropping 8, and I don't want to talk to you guys. That's I remember hearing that one somewhere or something like that.
That is fantastic.
Maybe that's what Gilbert told me. I don't remember, but that was it. That was Fritz's style. It was aggressive. Now he had personnel to do it.
Yeah, the personnel to do it.
Leroy was that dude coming down the box.
Do they have that now?
Yeah, I like to think so.
We sure hope they do.
Like to think so. Indeed.
Javon Bullard and Evan Williams. I am fascinated to see and cannot wait to react to it on Packers OT tonight. How that timeshare splits out.
Yeah,
I do expect it to be Javon Bullard first. I do expect to see Evan Williams on the field. He played far too well throughout the game and throughout the preseason to not be on the field.
Yeah, no,
he's going to have to be there at some point. I think he's going to force his way onto the field, forcing his way onto the field and being able to take advantage of it, right? Like that's what he did all preseason, being around the football, making plays and forcing turnovers. I think you see 33 a little bit. Does that mean that it's at the expense of Keyshawn Nixon on defense? We'll see. And we'll finally react. These are all the things we can't fully know yet. Hopefully have some answers to in about 10 hours, 12 hours from right now. What we did get answers to were some beautiful questions by Matt Schneidman said last night on the Football Feast. He even took his journalism hat off, Armin.
That was amazing to me.
He said he took his journalism hat off and enjoyed some of the more fan-style questions that Jordan Love got asked and the energy he brought to the microphone yesterday. So we bring it to you.
Keep the main thing the main thing. I love that. Bachelor. Bachelor reference.
Lot of energy and a lot of passion there. That I loved getting. Now there was a long form of it and a lot more to the entire piece through it.
Yep.
Just getting to hear the excitement from people that were covering and being there for the Brazilian media.
You can just hear
you could hear the excitement in
breath
it.
Trembling. Yeah.
And then my man, did you see the video of the guy getting his Jair Alexander jersey signed last night? By Jair.
I think I missed it. I didn't see it.
Armin, dude, you're going to be into. My man is crying on the street outside the bus as Jair's trying to sign his jersey.
So
he goes,
awesome.
"Hey man, where can I sign it? Where can I sign it?" He goes, "I'm going to have a heart attack right now." He goes, just not on me. Just not on me, man. Thank you. Go Pack, go.
What do you think the Brazilian media is thinking? Like when Wes said, "Come on, Wes, you could have asked him last week. You had to come 10 hours to ask him the first question."
Over here.
God,
come on, Wes has got to get in there, man. What's cooking?
I love Wes. He's cooking and all that stuff.
Wes is cooking.
I'm not saying don't ask a question. I'm like, let these other guys get their shot at it.
Oh,
but
no.
We could not have a better representative for the Green Bay Packers than Jordan Love. Let's just
it's
put
amazing,
it that way.
dude.
Yeah, the whole press conference is awesome. I know Packers put it up.
There was a piece of it last night during halftime, albeit very short, of his conversation with Maria Taylor. I think they'll air some of it more on Peacock tonight. Full thing is available on YouTube. I do urge Packers fans to go see it. I know a lot of Packer fans want to know more about Jordan. You'll learn a lot about the human side of Jordan Love. It's really, really cool. I would urge you to go and do it. I'd definitely urge you to be on, potentially hold, and be caller number 10, because then you have a chance to have your picks up against only John Kuhn and myself, right? It's 9 to noon for You Better You Bet. You got to beat the guys to eat with the guys.
Yep.
There's only 4 contestants in here, but that doesn't really matter for the week. All that matters is, can you beat the picks we lay out? Might be the best week to do it. Caller 10 next for You Better You Bet. We got a Kuhn's Can't Miss as well. A lot of investing in hour number 3. It's our best one yet. And it's next right here on the game. 9 to noon, back for hour 3. Our best one of the day features the Coons Can't Miss at the Potawatomi Sportsbook in about 15 minutes from right now. Our picks for the ones to eat with the guys. You got to beat us to eat with us at Carnivore, Milwaukee's premier steakhouse for over 15 years. And you bet. Before we get to that, Brian has got a couple here on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line that need to be read. Linebackers will be the MVPs for the Packers to go as far as they can. Sealing the middle from tight ends and back slipping out of the backfield. It needs to be stopped. Too many times that's killed us for big gains and first downs last year. And then he also followed up to our conversation about urging people to go listen to Jordan Love with Maria Taylor.
Yes.
He said the best part of it was when he says he goes home and still plays Madden with himself to see how good he is.
I saw that. That was funny. She asked him. Yeah, she asked him
about
something
as genuine as you possibly can be, man.
because he said he grew up liking Vic because he played him on Madden.
He played with him on Madden all the time.
He said, "Is it weird that kids are playing with you?" He's like, "I play with me.
I still play with myself sometimes." What?
It would be kind of interesting to be seeing yourself in a video game and trying to manipulate yourself. Like I know,
well,
I don't even know. It's just like a meta world that I can't even fathom. You know what I mean? It's
especially
so
as a 9-figure athlete, let alone the kids right now that are playing college football 25.
Oh man,
who are
making money now,
low on scholarship, hoping for the NIL check to come in. He's like, I'm a 68. Yeah, not until I put myself in as the starter and hit every single upgrade possible.
Yeah, that's true. I think if you were a college football player during that time,
you're throwing that thing in there.
It was so exciting to see yourself in a video game. If you were like a backup for South Lake and see if like they got your hair color right and all.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Like that would have been crazy.
And here Jordan Love's like, oh come on, I can make that play. What are they talking about?
Yeah,
I can't make that throw.
The game was wrong on that one, not me. The game missed it. The game was wrong. I can actually make that play.
D-Rock, man, I bleeping love our quarterback. No pun intended, baby. Go Pack, go. Somebody's going to be hammered and celebrating some green and gold tonight. There you go, D-Rock.
Assuming he's talking about himself. That's awesome.
I mean, unless he's just talking about somebody else, maybe that could just be listening and is expecting to have a really, really good time.
I think a lot of people be hammered. It's Friday night Packers opener.
Yeah, right. I mean, you got to have as much fun as possible. You got to be fired up. You should be ready to play and ready to win. And if you do that, you win, you beat the guys, you get to eat with the guys at Carnivore, and you bet. You better bet that you got to have some correct picks. You got to come correct if you're going to be able to beat John Kuhn and myself. 5 games against the spread, thanks to Carnivore, Milwaukee's premier steakhouse for over 15 years. The best steaks in the city. Wagyu cuts, domestic and foreign cuts of Wagyu steak, over 300 options in the wine list. Omar is in his cellar when he's going in, digging out what you will want to pair with that beautiful piece of meat you have at Carnivore. It is an elite experience at Carnivore, Milwaukee's premier steakhouse for over 15 years. And if you beat the guys and get to eat with the guys, you have a hell of an experience waiting for you. If you can get through the playoffs, right? This isn't just a one-time deal. You got to get into the playoffs with a victory, and there's only 4 contestants on the first week of You Better You Bet.
And this is a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a good point.
Which we like, which makes it fun.
It's a good point.
Just ask Andy in Brookfield or ask some of our other winners. That's what makes
Brent
it fun.
Franklin, he battled to get a W and win one.
I mean, Dan in Greenfield last year, when he won, he celebrated. Or was it Dan in Janesville?
Janesville. He celebrated. You better believe that.
Great time.
You better believe that. I was celebrating too as well.
Well, we had a great time. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Definitely not passing up a chance to be celebrating at Carnivore. Josh in De Pere is going to be trying to be celebrating and eating with the guys at Carnivore. Josh, welcome to You Better You Bet. How confident are you week 1 in the NFL? You don't know these teams all this well, but it feels like you know these spreads pretty well.
Hopefully I
That's not confident, Josh.
Come on, Josh.
Josh, are
Need
you
a little more excitement and confidence?
Josh, come on. Let's get some confidence
confident.
rolling here.
I'm confident, but I don't like my lock, but because it's a
Okay, here we go. Let's go. Well, then let's go with the lock right
You
away.
sound like me
Let's
walking
get
up to the kiosk. Don't be me. I need you to be better than that. Don't
You gotta have somebody next to him at the kiosk.
Don't walk
Come
up
on, Josh.
Don't hedge every bet you make just to
The
make
guy
sure.
next to you at the kiosk that's hyping up every single selection.
Oh,
That's the real MVP of the sports book.
Oh, man, I love when they copy. Oh yeah, I like that one.
I like that one too.
What you got? I would just.
And
do
it's
this.
not like in school where you
No.
all of a sudden you're like, you really don't want to copy off this
Yeah.
paper.
All right,
You're
Josh.
really not the one to be doing. All right, Josh.
I got a good feeling about your picks here. Let's get to your picks.
I want to hear your lock first because you didn't like it very much. So let's hear the lock that Josh is somewhat trepidatious about.
As a Packer fan, I don't like it, but I just think they're gonna win handily. So I have the Lions. As
All
my
right,
lock.
Lions.
Okay.
Minus 4.5
Lions as
right
the
now.
lock, laying 4.5 against the Los Angeles Rams. Coin flip game a year ago, but people are really high on the Rams. Anybody worried that they lost Aaron Donald?
Oh,
Like
I'm worried.
anybody concerned that Aaron Donald's not on the team anymore?
Nah.
Seems like everybody just expects them to get markedly better. And
Right.
maybe they will be. Maybe I'm the one that's false, but I think that one's going to cost him a little bit. I kind of like that selection of the Lions at 4.5. He thinks it's a handily victory, and that is a lock for our guy Josh and DePere. All right, Josh, what's your second pick?
I have the Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys on
Getting
the
to
road,
that.
catching 2.5
Yeah.
in Tom Brady's broadcasting debut. There was a couple of really, really hilarious videos going around last night about Deshaun Watson. Kevin Stefanski said he's going to make some plays that nobody else in football can make for us.
Okay.
Now, there have been some plays that Deshaun Watson has made that nobody else in football can
Yeah,
make.
That's true.
Not on a positive
Yeah.
scale. We'll see if that happens in 2024.
I haven't seen that Deshaun Watson for
I
a
haven't
couple of
seen
years.
it in a couple of years.
And I got to be
Definitely
honest,
haven't seen it in Cleveland.
plus 2.5, Billy. I don't know. I thought the Cowboys would be favored, to be honest. It's still a talented team. I know it's a road game.
Might be a tease in a couple of minutes.
Huh.
Wrong team might be favored in that game. All right, let's go, Josh. Next pick. Where are we headed?
I got the Atlanta Falcons at home.
All right.
He likes
trying to
the
get
Atlanta Falcons at home.
3 and a hook, right?
Yeah, and when you're talking about Kirk Cousins going up against a team that nobody really else has much of an idea, not a whole lot of people know what to expect out of Atlanta. But if it's Russell Wilson, or maybe it's Justin Fields, because now there's a calf situation going on with Russell Wilson. So maybe he's a full go, maybe he's not. Maybe he goes and he is hampered, and that defense that they've continued to load up on in Atlanta at home is able to feast. That's a very, very fascinating pick at 3 in the hook. All right, Josh, where are we headed next?
I'm going with the Miami Dolphins.
He's taking the Miami Dolphins. He is going to lay the 3.5 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Battle for Florida.
Battle for Florida. Let's see who can win. North Florida or South Florida, right?
And you're not going to get to hear any broadcaster say the humidity is really going to start playing a factor in this game.
That's an easy one to go to when you're doing analysis on the East.
100%.
You
Looks
know.
like there might be some cramping going on. Teams aren't ready for this. Flying in from Duval County, they actually might be. Okay. Yeah, that one doesn't sit very well down in South Florida. Last one, Josh. What's your next one?
The last pick is Tampa Bay.
He said the last one's the best one. I'm taking the Tampa
right.
Bay Buccaneers, laying 3.5 at home against the Washington Commanders in Jaden Daniels' first start. A lot of people love Jaden Daniels to be the offensive rookie of the year.
They do.
Trendy outsider pick to potentially make the playoffs.
And trendy fantasy pick this year.
A lot of
A
people,
lot
love
of people
Jaden
were
Daniels
jumping up
fantasy.
to get Jaden Daniels. I saw. Not
Yeah.
jumping up, but they were getting him earlier than I thought.
Don't
they
say
would.
you did, though, because we don't want to aggravate anybody on the talking text
Stop
line.
talking fantasy.
Josh, great work. Tune in on Monday, hear how you did, find out if you are into the playoffs. But if you're not, there are perks to being in week 1, because come October, you can still get yourself in if you don't beat the guys. We appreciate the time. Good luck, and hopefully you have a chance to be playing in the playoffs.
Hope so. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go, Josh. That's Josh and DePere.
All right, Josh and DePere. Now
I did think we needed a little bit more confidence out of Josh.
he doesn't sound that excited about his picks. However, it doesn't matter how he feels because he made them. It matters how his teams play. He might not be excited.
That's very true.
But he might
yeah.
go. He might go 6-0. You never know.
It's very true. You don't have to love the picks as much as, potentially we like them.
Like, thankfully, he's not going to be in the locker room to motivate these teams.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
very, very true.
That's a good
That's
thing.
a very, very good point.
All right, we get your picks, and then I got John's here.
Let's do it. All right.
Earlier in the week.
I'm starting it up right away, and I'm starting it up with an easy one. Packers +2. Now,
Let's go.
earlier in the week, you could have gotten this at 2.5.
It moved.
Way earlier in the week, you could have gotten it at 3. Still like Packers at 2. +112 on the money line might be even more fascinating and intriguing at Potawatomi Sportsbook. Might be the one that I actually jump on. But I like the Packers, and I got them catching the 2 points.
All right.
I'll lay the touchdown with the Buffalo Bills. I think it's a fun game. I think Arizona's better this year than they were a year ago, but I think Buffalo controls the time of possession, controls the game, and controls the line of scrimmage, wins that game by 7
That's
plus. It's a 6.5 point spread
All
with
right.
Buffalo at home. I'm excited to see this balloon burst. I'm really excited for a lot of people to be pumped up, high up, excited, can't wait for more CJ Stroud right out of the gates.
Yeah. And then what's going to happen?
Give me the Colts.
Colts
at home, team that last year was driving for a chance to tie or win the game against Houston for a playoff spot with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. I don't know how good Anthony Richardson is.
Well, we don't know.
I have no clue. I know he was an electric factory in 4 games a year ago. I do know Jonathan Taylor's really good.
Yes.
And I know a full year where his mind is free and clear of the contract conversation, training, and, oh, by the way, healthy all camp. JT is going to have a big year.
And they're Lucas Oil. I mean, they're home.
They're at home.
They're a home dog. They're getting 2.5 points.
The sun is weird when it shines through that place during the daytime. Houston won't be ready for it. Give me the Colts and give me the 2.5 points.
And let's see if CJ Stroud read his clippings, because a lot of people love him. So he's going to have to try and,
that's true.
Avoid that pitfall.
Yep.
I'm not saying he's that type of guy or anything. I'm just saying that's tough for anybody.
It's an interesting thing. This one I feel better about after listening to the Mike Heller show yesterday.
Okay.
He likes this team. I think they're better than people give them credit for. And I really like them catching 3.5 points at Soldier Field.
Tennessee, yes.
Give me the Tennessee Titans. Give me the 3.5. Give me Bill Callahan's Tennessee Titan offensive line. All right. Look at the guys that they have invested in on the offensive line over the last number of years to anchor that side of the ball and make everything easier on Will Levis. Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins. You want to talk about good receivers?
They've got players.
Tennessee's got good ones. Tennessee's got good ones now. Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears in the backfield, running behind Skoronski and company in that offensive line. I like the Titans to keep it close. I like them catching 3.5 points.
I would love for you to be right on that one. I'm hoping you are. They're plus 155 in the money line. I would love to see the Bears lay a huge old egg in this one.
That would be a heartbreaker for the folks there.
I mean, the way they have talked about this team in Chicago, wouldn't it be great if what if they got blown out? What if they got blown out at Soldier Field?
Arvin doesn't even want to see a close one. I want to see a beating.
Oh my gosh.
Circus peanuts at midfield and
He's
a bear
so
hunt by the Tennessee Titans. I got the Titans catching the 3.5 points. I like it. And finally, I teased it when we were on with Josh. I think the wrong team's favored in Cleveland.
I think so too, Billy.
Tough thing for Dallas. They got 2 rookie offensive linemen starting. Tyler Guyton is going to have to block Myles Garrett at some particular point in time. However, last night in the final series, I watched Justice Hill block Chris Jones damn near better than anybody else did.
He got better as the game
because they were able to manipulate where he was. He was in front of Lamar, and he was able to just kind of tire him out, moving back and forth.
Yeah.
You can do something to make Guyton's life easier against Myles Garrett. I don't know what Cleveland has offensively. I know they don't have Nick Chubb. Jerome Ford's nice, and they got a nice offensive line. I like their coach, but I just don't know anything about their quarterback. I do know Dallas has won 12 games each of the last 3 years.
They have a bunch of talent, man.
And I still think they're a good football team. So give me the Dallas Cowboys catching the 2.5. I think they win the game outright in Tom Brady's first game.
I'm with you, and I think the other thing I know is I think Coach McCarthy will have this team ready to go.
He's gonna be smashing some watermelons.
He's gonna have his guy ready to go.
No doubt about it.
I mean, that's Coach. He'll have his team ready to go. No doubt about it. All right, Billy, what's your lock?
My lock is the Green Bay Packers.
Packers, okay.
Yeah, my lock is the Green Bay Packers.
All right, good stuff. I got John's picks here. Let's get his picks for you, better bet. He's on the other side of you, Billy, with Cardinals plus 6.5.
All right, there we go. I like the head-to-head.
Right on the other side. I know he loves his Broncos. I know he loves Coach. He's got the Broncos plus 6.
Has to go with the Broncos. Has to like that. That's a big line, though. That's a big line. Now it's 6. I mean, Mike McDonald, first-time head coach.
Yeah.
Geno Smith and the Seahawks. Who knows if they're that good?
Now, and he sent me this earlier in the week. He's got the Bears on the other side
Let's
of you.
go.
He likes the Bears. -4.
I love the
Dolphins. This is what he had at earlier in the week. Dolphins -3.5. He agrees there with Josh, and he's got the 49ers to cover 4. And his lock is the Broncos. How about that?
Locking in the Broncos. I think that's a fascinating pull. Also, he's getting good value on the 49ers because that line has now since gone up to 4.5 at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. 4.5. That's a big difference when you're talking about a 21-17 game, right? A very, very common change in the score right there. Big point or half point there for the New York Jets. If you like the Jets or if you like the 49ers, you try to run over there and grab that thing before it potentially goes up because with the health and everybody getting back in a 49er uniform, that might change it up. Most importantly, those are 5 winners for You Better You Bet. But a stone cold lock and most likely an investment on the Green Bay Packers, now that's can't miss. Potawatomi Sportsbook, the best place to be watching any and all football action this weekend, whether it's pro, it's college. They don't have much high school, but maybe ESPN De Ocho has a high school game. ESPN Plus might have a high school game. Maybe they'll throw on there. They'll have the Brewers on though tonight.
Yep.
Earlier start time for the Brewers tonight.
I noticed that.
I like them acquiescing to people wanting to go and watch Packers football. 5:00 first pitch at
smart.
AmFam tonight. That's not going to be the can't miss. We're talking about viewing a wall-to-wall screen, 2,000 square foot screen at Potawatomi Sportsbook. I got to assume, Armin, this pick is going to include the guys with the big G on the helmet.
You thought so, and I thought so, but actually it didn't. I don't know if there's a strategy there involved.
Don't
for John.
tell me this.
He did not. He did not involve the
Shut
Packers
up.
in the can't miss. It's not what I have here on the text here. He's going to the college game. He's going to the college game.
I thought you were going to say he was going to pick the.
Oh no! He just didn't
pick the Eagles.
He's just not touching the game at all.
I was going to say, interesting that he texted you that and didn't want to drop that one on us here in the first hour when he joined us here. Okay,
no, he didn't do that.
All
No,
right,
in fact, he's going to a college game, and he got it earlier in the week in the lines move. Now it's Colorado at Nebraska. He likes Nebraska to humble Dion a little bit and cover the -7, but a little bit of value for everybody out there. You can get it now -6. So if you like Nebraska, there's a whole extra point from when John predicted it. So there you go. Coons can't miss is Nebraska -7, but now it's -6.
Now it's -6.
So how about that? And he did lose last night. He had the Ravens +3.
I think a lot of people had the Ravens +3.
And that's one of the, could have happened.
I think a lot of people also had Derrick Henry to factor into the offense more than I think 13 touches for 45, 46 yards.
Yeah.
Did score on that first drive and was fantastic early.
Lamar went to a Lamar heavy game and checkdowns. It's not going to be Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? That's the one thing about it is you worry about with Derrick Henry, stuff like that. So, I saw Portnoy lost like $300,000 on that game last night.
Yeah, he had the Ravens big.
Of course, he's won some
Sucks
too.
to suck, yeah.
And of course,
I do enjoy watching people lay massive amounts of money down on games,
like
and knowing that there's no chance that we're doing that.
He's got to have a lot more.
And luckily, we're not doing that.
He's got to have a lot more than that. I know, but still, I mean, he works
Armin's
so
still
hard.
sitting here saying $300,000.
He works so hard to build that.
Armin's
company.
scrolling on Redfin and Zillow like $300,000 could get me what?
Don't throw it away on Isaiah Likely getting in the bread. I mean, you work so hard to get in that. I know he's got a lot more money than that. So.
I think he's going to be okay.
I
think he'll be okay. 414-799-1973. Your X factors for Packers and Eagles, but not only the season, not only for the game, but for the season for the green and gold. What changes and what starters tonight start themselves on a path to the entire year being a shifter for the Green Bay Packers? We got that. We got our predictions for the green and gold coming up here tonight, as well as more conversation of the rest of the league because it's week 1 in the NFL. And also, there was something that we need to bring to the attention on last night's game, an NBA comparison for Lamar Jackson that helps out the Milwaukee Bucks. Some shade gets thrown, but a positive stray comes our way. That coming up on 9 to noon. Welcome back. Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian, Schmidt Sarian Experience here today. John Kuhn joined us in hour number 1 here on a Packers game day as they get ready to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, the game that finally gets here that we've known about longer than any other regular season game on the 2024 schedule. Just sitting here waiting, talking about it. Before that, it was also us just believing the Packers were going to go to Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's my favorite part about tonight actually coming and hitting fruition.
Because we kind of manifested it in a way.
We did.
I think so, too. I remember those days. Yeah.
We called it when they said that there's going to be a season opening game. It's going to be in Sao Paulo, and it's going to be an Eagles home game.
And we're like, it could be the Packers. It will be the Packers.
We went through all the opponents, listed it down. I'm like, no. Not the Steelers. They're not going to do a division game. No. Are they really going to put the Cleveland Browns on the second start of the season?
Well, there was a leak that it was the Browns. Someone leaked it, quote unquote.
Yeah, and I'm like, are they really going to put Deshaun Watson on the first game of the season, second game of the season?
Right.
Probably not.
No.
It was a clear and obvious choice for it to be the Green Bay Packers. Now, apparently there had to be some coercing, some potential conversating with Mark Murphy and the NFL. Right? I mean, listen, it was a competitive disadvantage for us.
Yeah,
we're going to potentially need some here if you're going to help us on out.
And we gave you the draft, Mark. Okay.
I mean, but I thought, but that's already done. I thought that was why we went to London. I thought,
can you do us a favor? You know, this is important for what you guys want to be. You're the Green Bay Packers. You want to be about community. This is the most important.
But I mean, we got to bust down to Milwaukee, maybe.
Well, we'll get you a nice bus. I mean, you guys are used to having to take the road less traveled as the Green Bay Packers. The franchise is based on that. You think Curly and Vince would have been worried about a bus ride?
Okay, fine, we'll go.
Right.
Let's gonna kick some ass over here.
And that's all it took.
And now we're here. Now we're here.
Some ass over here, right?
Now we're finally here, and they're playing in front of a bunch of Packer fans. Now, also
Let's kick some ass over here.
Reports from Philly are they're bringing a bunch.
Oh, really?
They're bringing a bunch. John Kincaid told us last night, mornings on the Fanatic in Philadelphia,
that there's a lot of fans there.
4 flights.
Well, okay. I mean,
they added four flights to Sao Paulo.
All right.
So they could fly more Eagles fans down there.
People
in Philly are thinking it's going to be like 80-20 Eagles fans.
No way. We got the support of the locals. We are Brazil's
Packers
team.
fans have been thinking that it's going to be like 80-20 Packers fans.
Absolutely. I'm so curious to see this tonight. And that's why the Eagles wanted to wear black and white, because that's like the local soccer home team colors. They thought they could endear themselves.
Oh, okay.
You're going to fool them.
First time they're ever wearing that combination. I found that
hard to believe.
Really hard to believe.
Because of the black pants? Is that
black pants, black helmets, white jerseys?
I find that hard to believe, but I guess it's the first time for everything. You know?
I mean, it said it on the internet. You can't lie.
They can't lie in there.
You can't lie.
Well, okay. So there's a couple extra United flights from Philadelphia. Oh, I'm scared.
Big deal, right?
I think we got the support of the people.
Matt Schneidman told us last night on the Football Feast that on his flight from Chicago, the lady at the gate announced, this is United Airlines, official airline of the Chicago Bears.
Well, they paid for that.
And you could quickly hear a large contingent of boos.
Let's go.
So there were plenty of Packer fans flying there on a Bear flight out of Chicago at O'Hare.
We just don't talk about it as much.
We just don't. We just be about it. Is what it is.
Be about it. We just exist. We're omnipresent. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. Yeah. Now, how about being present and showing up is apparently what Ja'Marr Chase is going to do. Now, breaking news here online from the horse's mouth himself. Ja'Marr Chase at his locker. Jay Morrison, amongst others, reporting Ja'Marr Chase just said, "I will play without a new deal. Well, I'll play on Sunday without my new contract."
So he's admitting defeat. Basically.
Sounds like he's finally admitting defeat. I will play.
Most of the time when organizations play chicken, when billionaires play chicken with millionaires, usually the billionaires win. I think he wants his money and he's going to, go play and get the money instead of not, I think that's what's going to happen. So Ja'Marr Chase is going to sound real tough, I'm sure, but he kind of lost this one. That's just the way it is. He tried.
Well, and the thing is, he had a long way to go, right? Yeah. As a wide receiver, 2 years left.
Too long.
Not for the Philadelphia Eagles, because they just apparently pay everybody. Devonta Smith got it 2 years early.
Right.
A.J. Brown got it 2 years early. But for Chase, I understand why he felt like he could showcase the precedent that the organization had just shown when they paid Burrow a year early.
Yeah,
so
I get it.
I understand taking the swing, especially when you're only going to make. Now, He's making like $4 million base salary this year. Game check would have been a couple $100,000.
Yes.
But
that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, especially when, yes, you know you have money coming at the end of this thing, and generation upon generation upon generational wealth. If you're talking about beating the Justin Jefferson deal, which he said he doesn't want just a penny more of. I'm gonna sub quote my man, Jamar Chase, when asked by the reporters, are the reports true that you want a penny more than Justin Jefferson got? Looked at him dead in the eye and said, Armin, if I'm going to beat Justin, I want to beat the out of him. Jeez. Not by just a penny, buddy.
Now, how do you
not by just a penny, buddy?
Because how do you feel about that? Because Justin's making a lot of money, and if he hopes he's going to make that much more, you better
way more now.
You better be worth it.
Way more now. Well, do you think Jamar Chase better than Justin Jefferson?
I think he's a great receiver. I don't know if I can say he's better. I think they're at similar levels in some way. I think
it's 1A, 1B.
Yeah, I agree. I think
and remember, Jamar was the headliner on that LSU team. As absolutely. The kid that was a year younger than Justin Jefferson.
No, he's good. He's very good. He's probably at that level. But here's what's tricky about these things, and you know this, Billy. Levels can rise and fall. He's at that level now.
Very true.
By the time he can sign a new deal, is he going to be at that level? Are people going to look at him as the best in the game? Because that's what he's got to do now. And I understand why these guys try and renegotiate early, because they feel like my stock is highest now. I have to try and go for it because this is a fleeting thing. This is the NFL. It could be over tomorrow. I have to try and get as much as I can now.
Yeah.
That's why I'm holding out, especially running backs we talked. So I get it. I get why you try. Don't get me wrong. But we'll see if he's worth it right now. His market value, if everybody became a free agent today, would be at that level.
Oh, but yeah, he'd get more if he ever reached free agency, which he never will, than he will right now.
Yeah. So at that point of extension, I don't know. I mean, teams are not going to want to pay top of the market if they don't have to. But sometimes it's,
Mr. Brown definitely doesn't want to pay. He doesn't want to do it if he doesn't have to.
And that's the one
especially
place,
now.
That's the one place where it seems like I don't know if they're going to be eager to do that. But sometimes it's better to do that than not. I mean, I think sometimes we think about that with Devontae. If we would have just done that earlier, he might still be in the green and gold. But things happen and it's over now. But it's a tough decision to make as an organization. Do I believe this guy's good enough? Probably. Do I want to invest that money in him now? It's a risk.
Big chance.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. People on the talking text line taking some swings at the Philly fans here.
Let's go. Let's get that.
Antonio Creek, 80-20 Philly fans in Sao Paulo jails, maybe. Come on. Come on, Tony.
I love when we go, I love when we go to the Philly trash talk with the Philly fans trash talking the Philly people. It goes right to felons.
Right to felonies. No misdemeanors. No, just, throwing a beer can at somebody. Yeah, straight to jail with you.
Just straight to jail. They're all felons.
JB, well, duh. I'd leave Philly every chance I could get if I lived there.
There you go, right there.
You know that they're coming in hot and heavy for the Philly fans.
You've been to Philly, Billy?
No.
Right.
No, I have not.
I've been there for
have a cheesesteak?
Armenian Youth AYF stuff. Armenian Youth Federation. I had cheesesteak there.
Is that a hotbed?
Yeah, there's a lot of Armenians there. One of my first times playing.
So that in Pasadena, tennis. California.
One of my first times in the Pasadena's a big one.
Okay.
And I didn't like the city. I went to a Brewers game. Brewers Phillies out there. I thought I was going to see Hoffman get a 600 save.
It's at Citizens Bank then.
Citizens Bank. Yep. Brewers won that day. Corey Hart had a dinger, I think. I thought I was going to see Hoffman get a 600th. He was at 599. I'm like, they bring him in now on the road, but they didn't. They brought him in at home.
Waited so they could get him at home. Man.
But it was a good day. I wasn't a big fan of Philly. That's
awesome
one place,
ballpark though, huh?
It's nice.
It's one of the ballparks on my list that I do feel like I have to get to.
I got yelled at by a vendor. I had sunflower seeds and I asked for an empty paper cup for the seeds to spit in. No, I can't do that. This is Philly. This isn't Milwaukee. My Brewer shirt on. This is Milwaukee. This isn't Milwaukee. You got to buy something to get it. Like,
oh, geez. All right. I was just trying to make it easier on the cleaning crew guy.
It was tough.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was a great Philly experience,
That at least you got the full Philly experience.
Exactly. So I felt real good.
80-20 more episodes of Locked Up Abroad. Oh, good Lord. 414-799-1973.
In their bag.
The text line is in their bag today. Hot and heavy and some very, very aggressive on the talking text line. We love it. All of it. Going to be tough to be able to find a quick trip takeaway of the day with all of the suggestions for your X factors, your game changers, and your predictions. Ours are coming up next for Packers and Eagles. It's 9 to noon. Stay wide on the game. Guys, last night was a beautiful existence. Being able to sit on the couch, watch my picks on Underdog. Well, sadly not hit. Thanks a lot, Travis Kelce. Come on. Are we serious?
Hang in there, Billy. Hang in there. They'll get better.
I thought Taylor
Week
in
1.
attendance, new boots. I thought it was an easy dub.
You could have had Mark Andrews. Could have been worse.
That's fair. Isaiah Likely at least showed up. Nobody else did. But a lot of people were showing up on the Underdog Fantasy app yesterday. Millions of fans last year made money making picks. You should be one of the millions and millions of fans that are going to do it this year on the Underdog Fantasy app. All you got to do is select higher or lower on your favorite players' stats this year, and you could win up to 325 times your money in a single night. My favorite part about playing the NFL Pick'em game on Underdog Fantasy. The fact that your picks and the stats of your players update throughout. So you see how close you are to hitting. You don't have to go to 6 different apps to look at this box score and that box score. Underdog, they're updating it real quick. So you're knowing how close you are to getting some cash in that account. Go to Underdog Fantasy now. Download the app, or if you want to use your computer, you can go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Either way, sign up with promo code Billy when you do. Underdog will give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick'em entry, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Billy, to claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. 9 to noon, round and third, heading for home on a Packers game day. Can't thank everybody enough for hanging out with us all off season long. Not just today. I'm saying July, June, May, late stages of April when we first started really getting to dive into some draft conversation, all the way back into free agency in the middle of March, our coverage of the NFL Combine when Aaron Nagler and I were back down in Indianapolis in February. It is wild how long it feels, but how quickly it goes and how back football is after the banger of an opener 27-20. The Chiefs win last night over the Baltimore Ravens by an inch or by a toenail, or as John Kuhn said earlier when he joined us from Sao Paulo, Brazil, Armin, by maybe a 7-stud, by maybe a change of a cleat, and maybe Isaiah Likely's toe rolls inside the green and not just on the tip of that white line last night for that nearly, I'm not even going to say game-tying touchdown.
Because they were going to go for 2, Billy.
Because they were going to go for 2 and try to win that thing right away.
We didn't get a chance to see that. That would have been awesome. But once again, I mean, Lamar's got to feel tormented. So close yet so far. But hey, it was just the regular season opener. He does have the rest of this year to write his chapters, write his book.
And he has the divisional round matchup that you and I both predicted in our season-long predictions.
Yeah.
They win at Arrowhead.
That's what
I
mean,
thought.
It's got to happen.
If there would be a time for the Lamar Jackson revenge story to finally conclude, to actually hit its climax, could be here in the post.
He's good enough. I mean, he was cooking last night when they needed him to come back, and that great play to Likely,
place, man.
That great play. I mean, it was he's
when
good
when he went down on the final drive, and Leo Chenal takes the absolute smack by I want to say it was Brian Cook, the safety coming over the top. Lamar avoids the collision. Leo Chenal gets absolutely poked.
He did.
It's one of the most Lamar Jackson moments ever. Dude never seems to take a big hit.
Right.
As much as he puts himself in harm's way, never seems to get really lit up. Knows how to fall, knows how to go down. Doesn't mean he doesn't get hurt, right?
Yes.
He missed the tail end of like 2 straight seasons before he got paid. So he absolutely can get dinged up and has, but he just doesn't seem to get blown up as many times as he's out running in the middle of the field wide open. Like, dude, you got to get down. Never slides, but seemingly is able to keep himself secure.
You know, he's impressive. He still has not been able to vanquish
the fun to watch,
the beast, but he's good enough, and at some point he might get one. We'll see. But that was one fun way to start the year.
Yeah, I'm not positive that he does. I wonder if he does. I sure hope he does. I hope he does, just not this year.
I do wonder if some of his best chances are behind him already. And it makes you wonder, it's that old Dan Jansen thing. Like, did he lose his shot now?
Because
he's falling to 500 every time.
Yeah, and I mean, we think that this year, best opportunity. Now they got Derrick Henry in the backfield. But you saw last night, they got a lot of problems up front that they're not necessarily going to be able to lean on Derrick Henry maybe as much as you would have anticipated.
Well, Derrick is good. I love Derrick Henry, but in certain situations that the Ravens like to go into, he's not really part of that.
Yeah.
He's not going to be part of that,
late in the game, he had his helmet off because he wasn't going to be a factor in that 2 minutes.
He can't be involved in the 2 minute. If it's going to be Lamar Cook and Lamar check down and Lamar find what you can, that's not really Derrick Henry's situation. So we'll see. There's going to be games when he's going to have big games, obviously, for them. No doubt about it. But in not every situation is he going to be effective.
All right, Quick Trip takeaway of the day before our predictions, brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Don't cook. Stop by your local Quick Trip. Pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal. You might even find, Armin, like a chocolate Long John you can pick up earlier on here today.
Should I read Rod's text? This is fantastic text, Rod.
Come on now. You know exactly where I was going.
I figured you would be. Here in Brazil for the game, Brazilians honk and cheer for the Packers. People stop us on the street to talk about the Packers. At the sports bar, there were chants of Go Pack Go. No Eagles fly stuff. Most Eagle fans have been decent, only a few wise guys. So, Go Pack Go. Heading for the tailgate. Have not seen any Philly fans arrested, but then they might have been rounded up getting off the plane. Rod, currently in Brazil. Let's go. Go Pack Go. Let's get fired up. I can feel the energy. I can feel the vibes. I can feel the beautiful spirit.
Gonna kick some ass over here.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And I love it. I love hearing that energy and the excitement and how much of a great feeling and experience he makes it sound like it is, because that's what John told us when he called in. He said, it was amazing. Fantastic. Everyone's having a great time. It's been one of the most beautiful trips ever. So let's finish it off the only way, the right way, with a dub on opening night, please.
31-27 Packers dub over at this microphone. What does Armin Sarian have here tonight for the conclusion?
I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. I think the under's going to hit, but I think we're going to win 21-17. Let's get it done.
Okay, so Armin Sarian's going under 49.
I'm under 49
wow,
for sure. I'm under,
okay,
I think it's going.
I think it's a high scoring game. I like the points here tonight. If you were an under better, you put that full sweater on last night at 47.5.
Oh yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious, did that sweater fit last night? Real snug.
But it hit. How do they know?
But it ended up working. I cannot wait to be working here tonight, talking Packers football with you on Packers OT with my main man, Drew Olson, Armin Sarian, and Hunter Baumgart going to be on the controls. Armin's got a long day. Long day.
Well, so do you, Billy.
But it's a labor of love.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a get to thing. We can't thank everybody enough for giving us this opportunity to be on the Packers Radio Network and hang out with you guys tonight as we kick off the third season as your home for the Green Bay Packers on 97.3 The Game. And it starts hopefully with a massive dub in Brazil. And we bring you the first of the international series in the Southern Hemisphere tonight, starting at 5. When the guy we handed off to next starts up with Packers preview, along with Dennis Krause. Our thanks to John Kuhn for joining us down in Sao Paulo. You hear John coming up on the game tonight and on Monday when Armin and I will try to be better. It's been 9 to noon. Stay wide on the game.